Greetings traveler, I am Akira, a representative of the Twilight Society and the curator of these tales. Today, we will embark on a journey which is KanoKari, a different life part 1. As always, if you want to support the creator of these works, their Patreon and story link will be in the description. Now, without further ado, buckle up and enjoy the story.
Chapter 1, Waking Up. What the fuck? That was the first thought that Kazuya had after waking up. He woke up with his head lying on the table with his cheeks sticking to it due to the spilled juice of the instant noodles. Why am I eating while sitting on the floor? His head was throbbing as if he was about to die, but he just chalked it up to his hangover. He had a habit of getting hammered at parties even though he went to a scant few. He would proceed to wake up the next day with a killer headache and make himself some lemon water. He got up feeling uncomfortable and lost his senses and went to the kitchen to find lemons. Somehow he knew where everything was as if he'd been here before. He made his remedy and took a seat on the bean bag while drinking it and tried to get the headache to go down a little. He was unsuccessful and ended up falling asleep again. An hour later he finally woke up and looked at the time on the clock. It was 1 a.m. The fuck? I missed the entire day? He would have panicked, but there was no point in that since the day was already over. Whatever. Guess I'll watch some YouTube. Finally back to his senses, he looked around his dorm room and remembered that he was at a friend's place. Looking around, he saw a single room with a futon lying in the corner. Behind that futon, there was a bookshelf filled with all kinds of random books. Some related to college stuff, some random fiction. The beanbag he was lying on was beside the futon and bookshelf. There was a small table with a low height that was made to study on while sitting on the floor. Why are there no chairs? The TV was a nice 40-inch flat screen and was placed in front of the bed. The kitchen was connected to the room and there was another door that presumably led to the bathroom. It's not bad for a college dorm, but where are all the damn chairs? And why the fuck is everything in Japanese? Still not comprehending his situation, he checked the mirror, and what he was horrifying for him. That's not me. He touched the reflection in the mirror and his memories started coming back to him. I got alcohol poisoning. My friends brought me to the hospital, but it was too late. Fuck. He ran his hands through his orange-brown messy hair. I used to be so handsome. This guy looks like he just got cucked. He lamented the loss of his old life, but nothing beyond that. Not like I had much going for me. He was a top scorer but was an orphan who'd lost his parents in a plane crash a few months ago. He'd been losing himself to alcoholism and it finally caught up to him. He was in his final year of college, majoring in computer science. The last night was the launch party for the company that he'd founded with 2 of his friends going public. I missed the IPO. He didn't regret it that much, but it stung a little to have missed the thing he'd worked so hard for as the CTO. I skied, huh? He looked in the mirror and noticed his face, moving on from memories. He'd watched a few anime to know about the concept but wasn't familiar with too much of that stuff. He had an actual social life and real friends, so he didn't drown himself in any media, let alone anime. Though he did love playing games a lot. Wait a second. He touched his hair again. This is a fucking dye. Who the hell dyes their hair orange-brown? He was flabbergasted at what kind of fucked up dude he took over. Dye it pink, or green if you want to look tacky. Pussy. He already disdained the original. Alright, let's take a step back. I have to recall my memories. He spent the next few minutes meditating to recall all the memories that he got from the original. There was no remnant soul, so there were only some important and recent memories that he could get. This guy had a loving family with his parents, and a nice grandma who pampered him a lot. His grandma was virtually the head of the family after his grandpa passed, and her only wish was to see Kazuya with a girlfriend before she passed. He had an allowance of 1,000,000 yen for each year, which was neither too much nor too little. He lived frugally and had a good amount of money saved up, especially since he usually begged his parents monthly for some extra cash. He was in the first year of college and had been dating Mami for about a month, and like any college student, he was on top of the world. But it all came crashing down when she broke up with him by saying that she was with someone else now. Brutal. He'd been through a bad breakup and the last memory he had was of choking on some noodles. Kazuya Kinoshita. What a loser. I guess I shouldn't expect much from someone who dyed his hair orange-brown. Didn't even have the decency to go completely brown. Ding. He looked at his phone and saw a notification from an app called Diamond. Your date with your rental girlfriend Chizuru Mizuhara has been confirmed. He blinked his eyes a few times and reread the notification a few times. Is prostitution legal in this world? He couldn't be blamed for the misunderstanding. The name of the app combined with the current situation of the person whose body he took over was more than enough proof. Sad horny people make the worst decisions. He opened the app and read through it to finally understand the concept. I don't know if this is worse than if he just got a prostitute. The worst part was that he couldn't even cancel since the girl had already accepted. He'd be charged for the hour anyway if he canceled now. Might as well go out with this girl. She seems cute. Looking at the girl's image, he thought. What course is this guy majoring in? Kazuya had the thought when looked to open his laptop. Business studies. Not bad. I could make my own company and this time I'll do it myself. The host has a goal in life. Conditions for the system to be activated met. Kazuya saw the text covering a tiny part of his vision before they disappeared and was confused at what was happening. System? Does everyone in this world have one? Or is it just me? He had a bit of an idea about this system but wasn't too sure. Being confused as hell, he decided to search for some stuff on the internet, and only ran into some fictional novels. There was no mention of a system, at least on the surface. Reading a few parts of the novels, he understood the concept of a system, which was like some kind of cheat. He thought, status? Status. Name, Kazuya Kinoshita. All stats for an average adult human are 10. Physique 7. Mind 12. Skills. Inventory. Quests. Main quest, Entrepreneur. It's a pretty minimalistic one, to say the least. And I even have an inventory. He looked over the inventory and saw that it was similar to a game's inventory. There were boxes for him to store what the system would consider items. It had 25 boxes, which limited his options, but he didn't mind. I might be able to stack similar items. Next, he focused on the main quest that was flashing with an exclamation mark. Main quest, Entrepreneur. Start your own business and make it public. Launch that IPO. Reward, inventory slots, plus 25. Seems useful enough. I'll have to explore more of the system tomorrow though. I need to look for as much information as I can about this guy. Kazuya went through all kinds of different materials to find out information about himself. He didn't want people to think that he was feeling amnesiac. He went through all of his past chats, cringing at the stuff he talked about to Mami. No wonder she dumped you. He looked through his past photos and all to find out things about him. After doing as much research as he could about the Kazuya, he thought about what he was going to do the next day. Or today, at this point. He thinks looking at the clock that says 5 a.m. It was Saturday tomorrow, so he planned to go out in the morning to look for a gym that he could join. He wanted to increase his physique level just to see how much it affected his strength. Then he was going to look for some sort of martial art to learn. Lastly, he's going to put his previous life skills to use and start freelancing. He was a genius coder with mastery in many different fields, so he was going to make some side cash by freelancing. He also had to go shopping. He wasn't going to wear the shabby shit that Kazuya had. Even if it wasn't an actual date, he had to make himself look presentable. He googled some nearby gyms and martial arts dojos and marked a few that he was going to visit tomorrow. He wasn't going to get a personal trainer at the gym since he had enough knowledge about working out by himself. He was a model person until his parents' incident in his previous life. He could do that and better in this one too without a problem. After hyping himself up for a while, he decided to take a little nap before he had to leave. Turns out it's not that easy to sleep with so much stuff on your mind. He kept thinking about how fucked up it is to end up in his current situation, but also kinda cool. Overthinking unnecessary things, he finally fell asleep after a while. Chapter 2, The Date 1/2. Kazuya woke up at 8 after a nap and took a shower. Wearing the clothes he had that were closest to gym apparel, he went out to the first gym that he marked nearby. He spent the next hour going from gym to gym, looking for one that suited his needs. Finally, he found one close enough to his apartment that met his requirements. He needed a place with an optimal atmosphere with enough equipment for the necessary workouts. The equipment was easy, but the problem was the atmosphere of the place. Most of the gyms were either overcrowded or had slow old people who wouldn't do very well for motivation. After deciding on his gym, he directly got the yearly membership and did some basic exercises for the next hour. Then he went to the martial arts dojos that he marked and combed through them. It was easier to find the optimal dojo since not a lot of people go to these places anymore. He found a trainer to teach him mixed martial arts along with a customized diet plan and set up a regular appointment for 5 days a week at 6. He was going to learn MMA on the same days as college, right after his classes ended. By the time he got back home, it was already 2 p.m. But he'd gotten a lot done. He'd even done enough shopping and got some more stylish clothes. He then spent the next few hours working on his freelancing account and setting it up to seem credible. He didn't have anything to show, so he wasn't going to have much credibility with the clients at this juncture, but once he starts getting people, it'll become very easy. After setting things up, he took a shower and got ready for the so-called date. He wore denim jeans and a black polo shirt. He wore black sneakers that matched the polo. The original Kazuya had already decided on the date plan last night, and it was too much of a hassle to change it, so he went ahead with the aquarium date. He texted Mizuhara his outfit description and the meeting spot and left his house. He noticed while walking down the stairs that after he left, his neighbor had also left their apartment. He didn't pay attention to them and walked to the train station. After some time, he reached the designated meeting spot 5 minutes before the stipulated time and started scrolling through memes on his phone while leaning on the side of a building. Black polo and jeans. Kazuya looked up from his phone when he heard someone call out what he was wearing. "Kazuya-kun?" she asked, and Kazuya instinctively replied with a charming smile. "Yeah." She was wearing black stockings and flat heels that were complemented by her cream-colored flowery sundress. She was wearing a sky blue cardigan with only one button over her sundress that matched the color of the flowers on her sundress. Her hair was completely free, flowing down her neck, while her face was adorned by a little blush and no other makeup. She was also wearing some cute pink earrings that were in the shape of hearts. Her pink bag matched her pink earrings. "Chizuru Mizuhara-san?" He adds a suffix to be polite, since he found out how people care about that sort of thing in Japan. That's me." Kazuya appreciates her outfit for a second and compliments her. "I love your sundress. It's beautiful." "Thank you, you look good too, Kazuya-kun," Chizuru replies. He chuckles inwardly at her generic response and guides her to the cafe nearby. "Let's talk there, shall we?" He points to the cafe and extends his hand to her. Chizuru hesitates a little but holds his hand as he brings her to the cafe. She didn't realize it, but she kept getting caught in his rhythm, and that was interfering with her usual perfect girlfriend routine. Kazuya didn't realize anything and acted the same way he would on any normal date. Mizuhara was used to going out with slightly desperate, socially inept people who would easily buy her perfect girlfriend act and leave happily. But this Kazuya was neither desperate nor socially inept. Entering the cafe, he pulled back a chair and invited Chizuru to sit. Taking a seat himself, he asked, "Coffee?" "Sure." He calls a waiter and orders 2 coffees for them and looks at her. "So, Mizuhara-san, are you in college?" "Yeah, I'm in the first year of college." "Really?" "Me too, although I dropped a year." "So you're older than me. Should I call you Oni-san?" Mizuhara goes off tangent since Kazuya was keeping the conversation going and felt like she should get back control. She decided to tease Kazuya a little to get some control over the rhythm of the date. "Hee, as cute and beautiful as you are, Mizuhara, I would feel like I'm doing a crime if you call me Oni-san." Kazuya chuckles at Chizuru's teasing and compliments her while making a little joke. He sees her blush increase a bit at being called beautiful, and it wasn't just the makeup. And seeing that she didn't mind him not using the honorific, he decided that he wasn't going to use it anymore. Thank you for the compliment, I guess." For the first time, her perfect girlfriend mask falters a bit, but she's quick to get her mojo back. If you don't mind." With the perfect amount of hesitation in her words to not give the wrong idea, she gestures to ask for the money. "Yeah, sure." He pulls out his wallet and hands her the money. God, this feels weird. It's like as if paying for a prostitute and not even getting the sex. Chizuru feels like it's weird asking for money from this guy who obviously doesn't need a rental girlfriend, but puts that thought at the back of her mind. "Don't get distracted, this is your job." She mentally chides herself and asks him, "So Kazuya-kun, you're in the first year of college. What's your major?" By now the coffee is here and the waiter puts it on the table along with sugar packets and leaves. "Sugar? Just one, thank you." As he tears open the sugar packet and puts it in her coffee, he tells her, "I'm majoring in business administration. I want to be an entrepreneur. What about you, Mizuhara?" He doesn't use the suffix since it's a handful to speak, and it doesn't seem necessary since she's acting as his girlfriend. I'm a literature major. I love reading and analyzing classic novels. Really? I was planning to major in literature as a backup if I didn't get accepted into my current university. They spent some time drinking coffee while engaging in random small talk. After they were done with the coffee, Kazuya paid the bill and walked out with her. The aquarium was a 5-minute walk away from the cafe, so they walked there. While walking, Kazuya naturally held her hand, and Chizuru didn't even notice since she was engaged in the talk with him. And after that, they left the water pipes like that, which ended up flooding his entire backyard. As they say, misery is the best humor. Kazuya was telling Chizuru a story about the misery of one of his friends from his previous life. PFFTT, she brought her hand to her mouth and spent a good 10 seconds trying to contain her laugh as Kazuya laughed at her attempt to still look cute like the perfect girlfriend. What happened then? After calming down, she asked him curiously. Nothing happened after that. The company came, reimbursed him for the damages, and replaced the broken fridge. Well, at least there's a happy ending. You know, not many people would laugh at this kind of humor based on others' misery, Kazuya said in a serious tone. Seeing Kazuya's serious expression, Chizuru panics and says solemnly, I'm sorry if you feel offended. Relax, I'm messing with you. You should loosen up sometime. You don't need to be this perfect girlfriend all the time. You're fun enough as you are. Chizuru genuinely smiles at his words and says, Thank you for that, Kazuya-kun. Anytime. Well, here we are. Kazuya smiles, acknowledging her gratitude, and points out that they've reached the place. Sunshine Aquarium. Chizuru never realized, but she walked the whole way holding Kazuya's hand. Pulling Chizuru in, he asks, You ever been to an aquarium before, Mizuhara? No, this is my first time in an aquarium. And I'm glad it was with you. Whoa, babe. Although I don't mind, if someone else heard your words, they might get the wrong impression. Kazuya smiles cheekily and points out the double innuendo in Chizuru's words. I mentioned the aquarium. She narrows her eyes and says to him with an annoyed tone, not even realizing that her mask was off and her real thoughts were what she said. I know. It's just fun to rile you up sometimes. Mizuhara pouts cutely and lets Kazuya lead her to the tanks with the fish. Chapter 3, The Date, February 2nd. Mizuhara pouts cutely and lets Kazuya lead her to the tanks with the fish. Since this is your first time, you're lucky to have come here with me. He naturally gets a bit into her personal space and whispers in her ear. I'll be gentle. He pulls back before she's able to react. She blushed at the close contact that left her heart beating faster and was going to scold him. Sadly for her, it was just not her day. Kazuya, already expecting an outburst, distracted her with fish. Look, those are glow-light tetras, aren't they cute? He looks back at Chizuru, who's not amused. Alright, fine. I'm sorry for getting into your personal space. I'll ask you next time. Next time! Don't sweat the details. His cheeky smile makes Chizuru want to punch him. They both go around the aquarium for the next hour while Kazuya, instead of telling her about meaningless fish bullshit, talks to her while looking at the beautiful fishes. The aquarium has a pretty romantic environment with all the dimmed lighting and glowing cute fishes. They both just enjoy each other's company while admiring the fish. Do you have something you want to do? A dream, maybe? Kazuya asks her, since he could tell that she was pretty professional about the date stuff. He was damn sure that she wasn't planning to be promoted to a real prostitute from a fake one. Me? I want to be an actress. Mizuhara's words are naturally flowing and don't have the overenthusiastic tone of her perfect girlfriend persona. She's already forgotten that she's on a rental date, and it's as if she's hanging out with Kazuya. Really? Shouldn't you be going to film school then? Kazuya asks her. There were some circumstances, so I just take acting classes after college and do the rental thing as practice for my acting. Well, good for you. You're following your dreams even after setbacks. Not a lot of people can do that. Thank you. You can ask me if you ever need my help. I don't think I would. I can take care of my dream on my own, thank you very much. Oh dear, my heart has been wounded. Kazuya puts his hand over his heart and acts as if she's stabbed him in the chest. Her deadpan look conveys that she is not amused. Kazuya's smile is infuriating for Chizuru. I want to punch you in the face. You could do that, but I'll give you a bad review. Kazuya chuckles as he watches her expression go completely stiff. Chizuru is startled when she remembers that this is a rental date, and realizes that her perfect girlfriend persona was nowhere to be found when hanging out with Kazuya. I know that look. You just realized that I saw your real self and now you're thinking of ways to salvage the situation. How dash. Don't worry about your rating. I'll be giving you 5 stars. Not because of your acting but because I had a genuinely fun time hanging out with you. Sigh. Chizuru gives up and decides to go with the flow because at this point there's no reason to start acting again. She might as well have a good time. After they're done with the aquarium, they walk out of the exit. You want to get something to eat? Kazuya invites her to get dinner with him. Sure, Kazuya-kun. Her bright smile made Kazuya's heart skip a beat. I know a nice sushi bar nearby, let's go there. They walk to the sushi bar. So how was the date today, Mizuhara? Kazuya is curious about how he did. What do you mean? She tilts her head in mild curiosity. I mean that I want feedback from you. You regularly go with people on such dates. How do I compare? Honestly, you're nowhere close to the kind of people that I go out with usually. You're very different. You're much more confident and a natural talker. My other clients, on the other hand. She hesitates because she doesn't want to badmouth her clients. Are desperate, socially inept people who can't maintain eye contact for more than a few seconds? Kazuya finishes her sentence for her. Yeah, that I guess. So you've got that in the bag. I don't even know why you booked this date in the first place. You don't seem like you're someone who need this stuff. Sigh. A sad and horny man makes some weird decisions. I won't say bad decisions because I genuinely had fun today, but I'd much rather go out with you on a real date. Chizuru blushes and dismisses his words all too quickly. I'm sorry, but I'm a professional. The terms and conditions of the app are strict that way. I shouldn't meet with clients off the books. Damn, a thorough rejection. I'm not surprised, I guess. You've got your dreams to bring to reality. Thanks for understanding. It was honestly difficult to keep up with acting like the perfect girlfriend with you. I kept getting swept up in your rhythm. Do you have any feedback for me? She's curious about what kind of feedback he'd give her. Well, your perfect girlfriend persona is pretty amazing. Not gonna lie, my heart skipped a few beats when you acted like that. But it does seem a little artificial sometimes. What? What do you mean? Her face has worries marred all over it. Don't worry about it. Poor virgins can't notice the nuances. They'll be too busy imagining how cool it would be to be in a relationship with you. Like you seemed a little overenthusiastic about very meaningless things like us both being in college. It's cute, but it'd be much better if you tone it down just a bit. I get it. Thank you for the advice. Anytime, Mizuhara. Let's leave. I'll drop you off at the station. I doubt you'd want random people to know where you live. Thanks for understanding. Mizuhara smiles beautifully and holds his hand on her initiative while they walk out of the sushi bar. They walk in silence to the train station as Kazuya thinks, this was fun. I guess I should try to find someone to go on a real date with. This feels depressing. When they're finally at the station. Thank you for today. I genuinely enjoyed it. I did too, Mizuhara. I don't think I'll be seeing you again, but if you ever need some advice or comfort, feel free to rent me again. Chizuru's beautiful smile coupled with her words makes him realize that she's wearing the mask right now. He shakes his head with a smile and says, Later, Mizuhara. He turns around and walks away while waving the back of his hand at her. I don't think we'll be seeing each other again. He walks with his hands tucked behind his head and goes to the grocery store to get some stuff before going back home. He spent the entirety of the next day after coming back from the gym on his freelancing account. He spent a day trying to contact clients and bid for projects, but it was bound to take some time. He still didn't get any clients but didn't give up trying. It was only a matter of time before he gets a few projects and some credibility for other clients. At the end of the day, he got a call from his dad telling him that his grandma collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. I'll be right there, Dad. He felt weird calling some unknown stranger dad, but knew that it would take him some time to completely get used to his new life. He rushed to the hospital to meet his new grandma. You guys keep exaggerating the situation. I just fainted a little. There's no need for everyone in the family to gather up. Like what old people usually do, Nagomi Kinoshita, Kazuya's grandma downplays her situation. Well, of course we're worried about you. I have to make sure you're taking care of your body. Kazuya's mother, Harumi Kinoshita, replies to her mother-in-law. She's right, Mom. People your age need to care for their bodies. You also have the shop to care for. Kazuo Kinoshita, Kazuya's father, agrees with his wife. Kazuya is sitting at the side. After greeting his grandma and asking about how she felt, He took a seat at the side while his parents were sitting on the sides of the hospital bed. He was feeling a little detached from the family drama as he was still not completely up to terms with the existence of his new family. After spending some time with his family and his mom asking him about his well-being, he's left alone with his grandma for a few minutes before he leaves. "I'm getting up there in age, Kazuya. Have you found a girlfriend yet? I don't want to die before meeting your girlfriend." He smiles a little self-deprecatingly. "I was dating this really cute girl for a while, Mami. I was thinking of bringing her to meet you. But she broke up with me on Friday. So, no go, Grandma." Nagomi was excited when he talked about having a girlfriend, but her enthusiasm died down with his following words. "It's fine, Kazuya. You'll find your girl. Just keep it in mind, okay? And don't go around paying girls to do unspeakable things. My Kazuya is not that weak." She may be excited for him to bring home a girl, but she was still very understanding. "Haha, all right, Grandma. I'll listen to you." He said that while thinking inside, "Oh, you have no idea." When he finally left the hospital, he decided to look for a game console for his room. When he went around to buy that stuff, he realized that most of the places only had Nintendo consoles. Fuck. I'll just look it up online. He looked online for a place that sold more generic consoles like the Xbox and PlayStation, and wasted an hour of his life to travel there only to be rejected with a, "I'm sorry, sir, they are out of stock." God damn it. He didn't give up, and after spending another hour to go to another place, he finally got his hands on a PS5. "This thing took far more effort than it should have," he says, looking at the console in his hands. When he finally returned home, he said that it was already 11, so he just spent an hour setting it up and bought a few games and left them to download overnight. A college student can't exactly afford extremely high-speed Wi-Fi. It's good that I still remember English. Most of my favorite games aren't even translated into Japanese. Leaving the console to download, he took a nap on the futon. Chapter 4: Another Meeting. When Kazuya woke up, it was 6 in the morning. His classes started at 9, so he showered and got ready for the gym. He only did some light workouts since he wasn't planning on limping to college as if he'd been run over by a truck. After about an hour and a half of some light workouts, he left the place and got ready for college. On the way to college, he remembered that he'd gotten a few dings from his system during the weekend but was occupied and ignored them. Thankfully, the system is inconspicuous. The notifications don't distract me when I'm doing something. His eyes lost focus as if he was staring at something in the air. Looking at the still same status panel, he focused on the Quests tab. Quests. Main quest, Entrepreneur. Side quest, No lonely bitches here. Side quest, Get that girl. Side quest, Income source. Daily quest, Shape up. Daily quest, Learn to defend. Damn, talk about a whole lot of quests. I hope it's not one of those systems that force the user to complete all the quests. He focused on his daily quests. The Shape Up and Learn to Defend quests were easy enough. He just had to spend an hour each day working out and learning martial arts. Each day that he completes both quests, his physique would increase by 0.1 unit until he reached 15 units. It would slow down after that. Side quest, No lonely bitches here. You don't want to spend another chance to live your life alone again, do you? Find a real partner to go through thick and thin with you. Objective, Get a real girlfriend. Reward, Happiness. Do you need anything else? Mind +5. Sassy fucker. Then again, it's eerily similar to how I self-talk while monologuing. The real and the quest objective stings though. Side quest, Get that girl. You met a cute tsundere who's a perfect girlfriend in any situation. At least when she's acting as one. If you like her, then go get her. Objective, Get Chizuru Ichinos to agree to be your girlfriend. Rewards. Specialized entertainment industry knowledge, includes basics of related trade skills. Ichinos, huh? Guess that's her real name. Anyway, as useful as the reward is, I doubt I'll be meeting her again. Thankfully, there's no penalty. It would be disgusting to have to rent her again just to woo her. Though if I run into her. Side quest, Income source. You've started freelancing to make money. Get some clients to accept your work and make that money to fund your business. Objective, Complete the projects for 50 clients. Reward, Specialized machine learning and artificial intelligence knowledge. Now this is a useful one. I've already dabbled with ML and AI. I'll be able to make my life much easier with that knowledge. I might even be able to make my own Jarvis. 50 clients are going to be easy. Depending on what kind of projects I take. I'll be done with them within 4 months. During the time he was internally monologuing about the quests, the train came to the station close to his college, so he got off. He ran into Kaib and Kuri, his virgin friends, at the campus who were also going to class. Yo, Kazukian. Kaib waves at him. What's up, Kaib? Kazuya felt weird at how Japanese, a language that he'd never learned, was flowing through him so naturally. How are you doing, Kuri? Kuri was more of a socially awkward dude and didn't take the initiative to talk easily, so he greeted the guy. Some meaningless small talk later, Kazuya noticed someone walking in front of him. It was a girl with double braids, wearing nerdy glasses and unappealing jeans with a sweater, and she dropped a few of her papers on the ground while looking at him in shock. Chizuru? She's in my college? Nice, I guess. He still recognized her even though she was pretty much disguised. He walked ahead intending to help with the fallen papers and say hi, but she panicked a little and walked away to the side, leaving those papers there. What's up, Kazuya, you know her? Kaib gives him a suggestive look. Not really. Guess I mistook her for someone else. He evades the question since he doesn't know if she wants anyone to find out about the rental thing. Boo. He bends down and picks up those papers, intending to give them to her later. What are you gonna do with those papers? I'll hand them to her if I see her. It's a good conversation starter, don't you think? Good on you, my man. You're already moving on from Mami. Yeah. Mami. Sorry about mentioning her, Dash. It's fine, dude. I've moved on. We were together for a month. There's only so much that you can care about someone after a month, you know. Damn, dude, you seem different. I do, huh? I guess I decided to change some things. He smiles happily, thinking about his current life. See you guys later. They separate to go to their classes and leave Kazuya alone to go to his lecture room. Suddenly, a blur of black grabs him by his t-shirt and pulls him into a file storage room. He's surprised at the sudden situation when the black blur pushes him to a shelf and points at him. Don't you tell anyone. Please don't rape me. That's the first thing he says to the fair-skinned beauty that's pointing at him. What? She's startled at the accusation. What else? You forcefully pull me into the file cabinet and push me toward a wall. What is this if not rape? Cut it out, Kazuya. Chizuru's entire momentum is deflated by Kazuya's bad joke. He smiles cheekily. How are you, Mizuhara? I haven't seen you since our date. I'm fine. We need to talk. She sighs and calmly tells him. You don't want me to tell anyone about the rental thing cause it's not something that people consider respectable. I know. Why do you think my two friends have no idea about you? Good. Under no circumstances can you tell anyone about me. Got it? Yeah. Promise me. Geez, so many demands. How about I make one of my own? What is it? She is annoyed at Kazuya for not accepting her words instantly. Seeing her perfect girlfriend mask having utterly disappeared, Kazuya realizes that she's a pretty interesting girl even without the mask. Go out with me. Kazuya is as straightforward as it gets. What? She still hasn't processed his words. Go out with me. Be my girlfriend. No. Impossible. I'm utterly busy as it is. I don't have time to waste on that stuff. She isn't really mad at him for taking advantage of the situation since she discerned enough about him at the date to know that he isn't this kind of guy. Fine. Can't blame me for shooting my shot. I promise. No one will find out. At least from my side. He gives her a reassuring smile. Sigh. It's like all of my efforts to keep the date spots away from the college were utterly meaningless. It's not your fault. I also said it to be far away since I didn't want to run into anyone from college. Just don't let anyone know. I care about my job and don't want people to talk behind my back. Here's your papers. You left them there when you ran away from me. I didn't run away. I avoided you. It's different. You seem pretty panicky to me. I'm gonna say you ran away. Shut it. She puts her hand over Kazuya's mouth and shuts up herself. There is the sound of some people walking by the room. When they're finally away, she removes her hand from his mouth. You know, it already seems like we're a couple. Kazuya pointed out just to fuck with her. Her face is a blushing mess as she says, I'm leaving. Just as she turns around to walk away, Kazuya holds on to her arm. Hey! What now? She's cranky, to say the least, but even that's cute to Kazuya. One date. One date. Go out with me on a date. An actual one. I won't bother you if you don't want to go out after that. Kazuya. She wants to refuse, but Kazuya's earnest look makes her hesitate. It's not that she didn't enjoy their date, but she hadn't ever been on a real date before that wasn't a rental and was hesitant. He waits patiently for her to answer, not wanting to pressure her by repeatedly asking and seeming like a whiny bitch. Fine. But one date. That's it. Don't expect anything more. I don't have the time to do this kind of stuff regularly. Do you understand? It's fine. I just wanted to see you on a date where you don't wear that mask. Whatever. She looks away from him. Friday. Dinner and a movie, okay? Can we make it Saturday? I have to go meet my grandmother. Saturday works for me. Kazuya hands her his phone and says, "Give me your number, and I'll text you the details later." She narrows her eyes at him like a cat. You just want my number? No duh. How am I gonna contact you without your number? She doesn't say anything and saves her number on his phone. Chizuru Ichinos. He reads the name she saved her contact with and smiles. At least she told me her real name this time. Chapter 5, Coincidence. Kazuya happily walked with a skip in his step after successfully asking out this unearthly beauty on a date. After the day was over, he met up with Kaib and Curry before going home and changing up to go to the dojo. He came home tired, spent an hour sending requests and bids for projects on the freelance site, made himself dinner, and played some God of War before falling asleep. The next day he was getting ready for college. He'd already been to the gym and had just taken a shower. When he walked out of his apartment, he heard the clicking of another door and looked to his right to see his neighbor leaving her apartment. Lo and behold, it was Chizuru Mizuhara Ichinos. In her usual dorky low-profile getup, with her book bag slung over her shoulder. They both looked at each other in stunned silence. This has got to be some kind of fate bullshit. No. Kazuya didn't believe in this many coincidences happening with the same person. Unbelievable. Chizuru couldn't believe her current situation and panicked. With a deadpan face, she ran back into her apartment and slammed the door shut. Kazuya was left blinking his eyes in sheer confusion at her reaction. Don't you talk or something when you run into someone you already know living beside you? Who the hell just runs away like that? Chizuru-san, are you okay? Kazuya knocked on her door and asked her. I don't think I'll ever get used to honorifics. I'm fine, you should just go. Her voice was a little muffled through the door. Alright, I guess have fun. He walked away from her door and left for college. Chizuru was sitting on the floor with her back to the door and hugging her legs. Why is it that I see him everywhere I go? Finally working up her courage, she got up and walked out the door. Looking at the empty hall in front of her apartment door, she felt a little disappointed that he didn't wait for her. What are you thinking? You're the one who slammed the door in his face. She shook her head. She hyped herself up by clapping her cheeks and walked to the college. After college, Kazuya returned home only to run into Chizuru, who was also walking into her apartment. He wasn't planning on greeting her after how she slammed the door to his face in the morning, but she's the one who called him out. Hey, Kazuya. HM. What's up, Chizuru-san? He forgot the honorific again. About this morning. He patiently waits for her to finish. I'm sorry for slamming the door to your face so rudely. Her genuine apology completely surprises Kazuya. He was expecting a wholly different reaction from her. Don't worry about it. I know how you're sensitive about your job stuff and everything. Seeing me everywhere must have freaked you out. It's not a problem. I'm glad you understand. Though it's freaky, huh? The number of coincidences that we've got. What are the odds of the girl I rented to my girlfriend going to the same college as me and even living right beside my apartment? I know, right? Especially because my grandma is the one who got me to live here. She said that it's close enough to the college and a nice place. Wait a minute. Your name is Chizuru Ichinos, right? Is your grandmother's name Sayuri Ichinos? Are you stalking me? Because it damn well seems like it. She gets a wary look on her face and starts stepping back. He smiles amusedly. Yeah, I've been stalking you ever since you started college. I even know the color of your underwear right now. That look of pure disgust and horror on Chizuru's face made Kazuya laugh out loud. Ha ha ha. He holds his stomach and spends a good few seconds laughing. What the hell is so funny? Ha! You should have seen the look on your face. Stalker my ass. My grandmother Nagomi is friends with your grandmother. She's the one who got me this apartment with a good rent rate. Sigh. So that's what happened. I should have known. Well, their tactic seems to have worked. I did end up asking you out on a date. She tucks some of her stray hair behind her ear and says while looking down. I got to agree on that. Well, I have to go somewhere, so I'll meet you later. Sure. See you later. She turns around and walks into her apartment. Kazuya follows his usual routine of going to the martial arts dojo, and today he finally got the skill. Martial arts detected. Skill mixed martial arts LVL1 has been generated. Oh cool. It's like what happened with my other programming skill that's at level 24. This honestly makes learning things so much easier. With each level increase, it's as if more information is fed to my brain, making me much better at the skills than I would be by training normally. The next day when he walked out of his apartment, he didn't see Chizuru again. I guess she's already left for college. It'd be too late if she decided to leave even after me. Talk about being socially inept. This perfect girlfriend herself isn't very experienced with relationships. On the surface, she seems perfect, but when you look deeper, it's like she's never had any relationship in her life. Repressed feelings, huh? He'd realized that Chizuru Ichino's herself was someone who needed to be taken on a date. As a customer, that is. She'd never opened herself up to anyone, and that had made her close herself off. Every time she felt vulnerable, she'd run away, since that seemed to be the best solution for her. He put his hands behind his head while walking and said to himself, well, she's got a colorful personality at least. I won't be bored if I spend my time with her. Her being the best eye candy of all eye candies makes it all the better. Reaching college, after a few of his classes, he noticed Chizuru, in her dork getup, talking with a few of her friends. Deciding to respect her wishes of not talking in college, he turns away from her and works on his own thing. He'd been paying extra attention to the business administration stuff and knew that it was going to be very helpful for him. He'd been utilizing most of his time in college to understand the syllabus and course materials since he wanted to get a skill in business administration. The existence of that skill would make his college studies much easier, and he could start working on some side projects during college too. Although it was proving to be difficult since he was completely unfamiliar with even basic information about the course. When he was done with college and his weekday MMA classes, he went back to his apartment and texted Chizuru. He asked her what kinds of movies she liked watching. Why would you ask that? Chizuru, while lying on her bed in her sleepwear and her feet waving in the air, texted him. Don't want to take you to a movie that you wouldn't like? Anything would work for me. Really? She subconsciously has a smile on her face when she wrote the message. Kazuya applied a different tactic to get her to talk. He was sure that she was a movie nerd, and once she started talking about what she loved, she wouldn't stop. What do you think about thriller movies? Oh, I absolutely love them. He was right about his conjecture. She had an opinion about every single genre of movie. She'd researched all kinds of different acting styles and all kinds of different movies. Although Kazuya didn't spend too much time watching movies, he was familiar with enough of them to keep up a conversation with her, although she was the one who did most of the talking. Chizuru enthusiastically chatted with him till it was 1 in the night about the things she cared about related to cinemas. And she didn't seem to be done. The only reason she stopped texting him was that she'd realized that it was too late. Kazuya kept a mental note of most of these things since he was going to pick a movie based on her preferences that he would also enjoy watching. The only reason that she stayed up late with him to talk about these things was that he knew how to keep the conversation going and how to keep it interesting. Although Chizuru was the one with more information and more interest in the topic, Kazuya knew how to get that information out of her. He'd kept her engaged in the conversation with a few well-timed jokes and some of his views while talking to her. This is very important when it comes to late-night conversations. Even a slight lull in the conversation could lead to the end of that conversation. The next day he noticed that Chizuru kept some extra distance from him. Even if they ended up making eye contact from far away, she'd turn around and all but run away. It amused him how she could have so many different things going for her. On one hand, she was able to chat non-stop for hours about movies, and on the other, she could be embarrassed by talking about her interests to the point of running away from him after that. The rest of the week went by similarly. He kept up his routine of going to the gym in the morning, then he went to college where Chizuru would proceed to completely ignore his existence, as if he was a plague, even though they were talking each night. After college, he went to his MMA coach. During the week of regular training, his skill increased to level 3. After returning from there, he worked for a while on his freelancing. He'd finally gotten his first client on Friday. He was planning on finishing up the client's work on Sunday. Then, after dinner, he'd spend some time playing games while also chatting with Chizuru. Meanwhile, Chizuru was getting mixed signals from him. On one hand, his texts were very engaging, and seemed as if he was very interested in talking with her. On the other hand, they were constantly delayed since he was focusing on his game, and was talking to her between rounds. Finally, the week was over. It was Saturday. It was time for his real date with the girl he was kinda sorta interested in. Chapter 6. Dinner and a Movie, 1 of 2. Kazuya was ready for the date wearing black jeans, a white collarless polo, and a navy blue blazer over that. He walked out of his apartment and knocked on Chizuru's door. That was what they'd decided. He'd pick her up from the apartment itself, and they'd go have their date. "Just a minute," she calls from behind the door. She opens the door and invites Kazuya in. "Come on in. I'll just be a minute." Kazuya notices her outfit before she goes to sit at her dresser. She was wearing a white skirt that went to her knees with pink flat heels. Her matching pink top was tucked into her skirt. It was a loose V-neck shirt with a white collar and a cute red bow tie. Her hair had a braid running through one side with a lock of her hair hanging out from the side. She was just putting on some matching pink earrings when Kazuya knocked on her door. She was sitting in front of a mirror and had her hair turned to one side, revealing her neck, while she put on her remaining earring. Finally done, she looked at him. "How do I look? It took me a while to do my hair. Mesmerizing. Though I think it was a mistake to do that hairdo. I'll end up playing with your hair for the entirety of our date. Pfft, feel free." She laughed cutely with her hand on her mouth. "So much work. I gotta get her comfortable enough first to get her to lose that mask." He sighed at how troublesome this girl was. But that was what made going after her worth it. "I don't want peace, I want problems." He thought back to one of the co-founders of his company who'd used this line as the quote for the promotions of the company, and inwardly chuckled. "Let's go, we don't want to be late for the movie." He extended his hand to her. "Sure thing." She held his hand and left the apartment after locking her door. As they walked in silence, Chizuru started a conversation. "What movie tickets did you get? It's a thriller by Karakita. They're your favorite director, right? I'm so glad you remembered. I thought that among all of the stuff we talked about that time, you'd forget about it." Her dazzling smile makes Kazuya's heart skip a beat. "Girl, your smile looks so beautiful people would think that I'm some random schmuck you took pity on and let him walk with you. Pfft. Don't worry, I'll make sure to keep holding your hand so they know that that's not true." She's upped her game and isn't going to get flustered with cheesy lines anymore. "Phew. I'm just glad that you're acknowledging that we've been chatting. Seeing you avoid me like the plague in college was giving me mixed signals." She gets a guilty look on her face. "You know about my college issue. I can't risk getting seen in public with a client, especially around the college." "I see. That's all I am to you. A client. And here I am taking you out on a real date." Kazuya gets an overdramatic melancholic look on his face as if Chizuru's words broke his heart. "Come on. You know it's not like that. Things are complicated." She shakes his hand a little while they are walking. "Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you." On the inside though, he was thinking, complicated my ass. It's clear as day that she's just too chicken to talk to me in broad daylight because she fears being seen without her so-called girlfriend mask. At least being seen by someone whom she's gone out with as the perfect girlfriend. As they were walking, he heard a few stray comments calling Chizuru an idol and that Kazuya was a lucky bastard. "Hear that? People already think you're an idol. All you got to do is work up that ladder to become an actress." She rolls her eyes but has a slight smile on her face. "Yeah, right." Finally, when they reach the movie theater, Kazuya gets some coffee for the two of them and they take a seat in their spots. The theater was fairly empty, and their spot was in the far back. "Your seating choice along with the empty theater makes me suspicious." She narrows her eyes at Kazuya. "Yeah, I'll be making a move on you while we're watching the movie. Try not to get startled." He gives her a smirk. When they take a seat, Mizuhara gives him a cat-like wary look, but then the movie starts. Chizuru seems to have completely closed herself from letting him even touch her, with her hands tucked within the seat and a fair distance away from the armrests. Kazuya smiled amusedly at her attempt. Every once in a while he disturbed her by flicking her hanging lock of hair. "Stop it!" After ignoring him 2 times, she stops his hand from touching her hair for the 3rd time. "It was a difficult hairdo. Don't ruin it. She caresses her hair as if it was her baby. Then she brings her arms back into the armrest. Mission failed. Guess I'll have to wait for her to bring her hands back up on her own accord. She could sit like that for about 15 minutes of the movie but gets the urge to bring her hand to the armrest. That's where Kazuya's hand is already waiting and he lightly brushes her hand, not wanting to be forceful yet, as she would just run away if he did something like that. He can audibly hear her sigh as she turns her hand around and grabs his hand on her initiative. Since they're sitting together, he's able to get close to her personal space to talk to her without any issues. Every once in a while, he'd get close to her ear and whisper something about the movie, making her giggle or hum in agreement. Her starry eyes when watching the movie would have been visible to anyone across the hall, and were unmistakably noticed by Kazuya. Well, at least the movie is good. He also liked it, probably not as much as Chizuru did. But anyone would enjoy a good thriller. Halfway through the movie, as he was about to comment on something related to the movie, Chizuru tilted her head to his side, inviting him to speak, as if she was expecting him to come close to her ear. He brings his arm around her neck and pulls her in even closer while telling her about it. She thought that after telling her he'd let go, but seeing that he didn't, she asked him, "Hey, let go." She asks in a tiny voice that Kazuya is unable to hear, but he got what she was asking for. "You don't like my arm around you? It's not that dash." "Then it's fine." He turns back to look at the movie. "Dumbass, I was trying to be polite. Let me finish my words." She screamed internally. "It feels weird with his arm around my shoulder." She keeps herself a little upright since she doesn't want to get comfortable with his arm staying around her shoulder. Although not used to the feeling of a guy's arm around her shoulder, she ends up leaning back into the seat sooner or later. By the time the movie's over, she doesn't even feel that his arm is wrapped around her shoulder. God, I love Karakata movies so much. His direction just brings out so much more from the actors. They stay sitting in the theater as the credits are rolling while Chizuru excitedly comments on her favorite aspects of the movie. Kazuya keeps chiming in every once in a while, keeping her enthusiasm going. She was talking so excitedly that that little lock of hair bobbed up and down as she spoke her words. They keep talking up till the credits are over. "Come on, even the credits are over, we should leave." She agrees with him and gets up from her seat. They start walking with Kazuya's arm wrapped around Chizuru's shoulder. This forces them to walk much closer than they usually walk. After the close contact with him in the theater, Chizuru is comfortable enough with him being close to her so she doesn't mind, or actually, she doesn't even realize that it's different, and he's much closer to her. They walk out of the theater as if they're a couple with almost no distance separating them. "You enjoyed the movie?" Kazuya asks with a smirk, knowing damn well that she did after how long she talked about it with him. Her smile is genuine and bright as she turns to look up at him. She's a good 10 centimeters shorter than him, so she has to look up at him, even with the heels. She finally realizes how close they are, and her heart skips a beat. The natural blush on her face takes over the makeup, making her look red as if she had a fever. She hurriedly pulls herself back from Kazuya and he doesn't stop her. He pulls his arm back as she hurriedly makes some distance between them. She looks down for about a few seconds before she brings her head back up. Her girlfriend mask is back up on her face. "Yeah, I did, Kazuya-kun. What did you think about the movie?" She brightly smiles as if her blush just now didn't exist. Although there's still a red tint on her face which could have been either the makeup or her actual blush. "God, girl, it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back with you. I love a good thriller as much as the next guy." He shakes his head a little and starts walking, prompting Chizuru to follow after him. "If you're left thinking, holy fuck, at the end of the movie, it's a good thriller." She nods a little too enthusiastically. I agree. You dash. You know, I have this friend Curry." He interrupts her from her girlfriend mode conversation and decided to sacrifice Curry. He told her an embarrassing story about the guy that would lead to anyone laughing like crazy by the end. His interruption catalyzed to break the flow of her girlfriend mode. This way she'd start talking to him normally easier. Although interrupting someone like that is pretty rude, he'd already set up the premise to do something like that beforehand. When in doubt, make her laugh. That always seems to work out. Chizuru also didn't mind the interruption that much since the talks that she had with people in her girlfriend mode aren't the most interesting, at least for her. Those talks were for socially inept people who didn't know how to keep up an interesting conversation. They'd think that she's talking to them. She's such an amazing girl without actually paying attention to the contents. It was hard for Kazuya to get her comfortable enough to remove her mask again, but he was successful by the time they reached the restaurant. Chapter 7: Dinner and a Movie, 2 of 2. It was hard for Kazuya to get her comfortable enough to remove her mask again, but he was successful by the time they reached the restaurant. "Milady." Kazuya offers his arm to her in a bent shape. Chizuru giggles a little at his display but locks her arm with his nonetheless. They weren't going to go to a very fancy restaurant, but it was a good place nonetheless. Neither of them was dressed to go to a fancy restaurant. Sitting at the table, they ordered their food. "Why did you take me on this date?" Chizuru is curious about Kazuya's motivations to ask her out. He wasn't head over heels for her, so she was curious. "The truth?" He pauses for her reply. She nods at him and tells him to continue. "You're a bombshell. I have never seen someone as beautiful as you. I was smitten with you the moment I laid my eyes on you," he says with a completely straight face while looking into her eyes. "I asked for the truth." Her face is expressionless even though her blush has increased. "Fine. You seemed like an interesting personality. I'm attracted to troublesome girls. Consider it my preference. Seeing you going around with so many different masks, I got curious about which one's the real you. Plus the bombshell part is completely true. Who wouldn't want to be with you? That seemed surprisingly truthful. I appreciate your interest in me, but I'm honestly not in a place to start dash." She understood his motivations but still wanted to clarify things with him. "Whoa there. Chizuru-san, I didn't ask you to be my girlfriend. At least not yet. I just asked you out on a date. You don't need to reject a guy who hasn't even asked you out." "No, I understand, but I thought that dash. You don't need to clarify anything. I just asked you out for the sake of asking you out. There's no deeper meaning to it. So let's forget about that stuff and enjoy our date." He raised the wine glass in his hand that was filled with wine in classic DiCaprio style and gestured to Chizuru to raise hers as well. "That sounds like a wonderful idea." She raises her glass and clinks it with Kazuya's raised glass. They both take a sip of the wine together. Finally, when the food is here, Kazuya noticed that Chizuru asked for extra chopsticks. He didn't ask her why, but while eating her meal she offered him some food using the spare chopsticks, and he realized her ploy. "Try this, it's very good. This perfect girlfriend likes to cover all avenues, eh?" He gladly eats what she offered to him, and when she turns back down to eat he does the same for her. Here, the natural way that Kazuya offers her the food makes her not notice anything out of ordinary, and she takes a bite out of his chopsticks. While chewing the food, she freezes for an instant. He gave me the food with his used chopsticks. Damn it. At this point, she's gotten used to Kazuya one-upping her, so she thinks, fuck it, and focuses back on her food. Kazuya notices a healthy blush on her face, and inwardly cheers in victory while eating another bite. Kazuya decides to make some small talk related to college to gauge her reaction. Though he realized that she was uncomfortable talking about anything related to the college, so he changed the topic. She completely kept her college life separate from her dating stuff. Even the personality she showed in those places was completely different. So it made sense that she wouldn't want to talk about college on a date. "You told me that you go to acting classes after college. What do they teach you there?" "Each day they have these role-playing sessions that have each of the members acting out certain roles. Most of it is improv, but there's a specific." If it was one thing that Kazuya realized, it was that she was unbelievably enthusiastic about her acting career. "Acting has been your childhood dream, hasn't it?" Kazuya pointed out when he saw the childlike wonder that she showed while talking about her dream. People only show this expression when they are chasing after a dream with the purest intentions. There's no money, no benefit involved in this dream. It's a pure dream, and that's beautiful. "How did you know?" Chizuru is shocked that Kazuya can tell that about her. At this point, she understands that he isn't free enough to meaninglessly stalk her. "Just a hunch." He gives her a cheeky smile. "All right. Keep your secrets. Don't you have a dream? Something you want to pursue to the ends of the earth?" She's curious about Kazuya. At this point, there's no artificial feeling to their conversation like when he's with the perfect girlfriend Chizuru. "My dream, huh?" Kazuya thinks about his previous life and how he'd had everything. He'd accomplished so much before it all came crashing down months before his death. "I guess it's to take over the world." "Tell me seriously." "I'm serious. I even have a daily planner that says, my planner for world domination." He smirks annoyingly. Chizuru is silent, telling him that she wants an actual answer. Ha! Fine, you win. I don't have any concrete dreams. I want to become an entrepreneur. Start my own company, and experience what it's like to have hundreds of people working for me. You don't want to get rich? Oh, don't get me wrong. Money is a big motivator, but at some point, it becomes no more than a way to keep score. After I make enough money, I want to move on to bigger and better things. That sounds like fun. Who knows, I might even get into the film industry. Become a director. He gives her a suggestive smirk. Sure. Mr. Director, don't forget me when you make it big. How could I forget you? I promise that if, and that's a big if, I end up becoming a movie director, you'll be my first choice for the female lead. What do you say? I'll hold you to that. She smiles at him. When they're finally done with the dinner, they leave the restaurant after Kazuya gave a big tip to the waiter. He also inwardly thanked that waiter cause he helped him out with this troublesome girl a few times. They walk back to their apartment complex in silence while enjoying the view of the night sky. They'd had some wine, so Chizuru was a little tipsy, but nothing much. I had fun tonight. Chizuru was rubbing her arm since the wind was a little chilly. Me too. He took off his blazer and put it over her shoulders. I hope that you can take your masks off sometimes. That perfect girlfriend won and that nerdy student won both. I can tell you that I certainly had much more fun talking to the real you than some acting personality that you conjured up. That's the entire reason that I do the whole rental girlfriend thing. It helps me practice acting as a different person. She defends her career choices while naturally pulling the blazer over herself. She smelled Kazuya's scent from the blazer and blushed a little. All right. I won't tell you what to do. He raises his hands a little and backs off with a wary look on his face as if Chizuru would eat him up. She giggles cutely and stretches her hand. Don't worry. I don't bite. Unknowing about the lie that he's been told, Kazuya grabs her hand and walks as she intertwines her fingers with his. He didn't know this yet, but she bites hard. We're here, Kazuya said with a bit of a reluctant tone. Yeah. Chizuru's tone is also similar to his. When Kazuya realizes this, he said, "Wanna walk around the block for a while longer?" She smiles a little. Sounds like a plan. With the intimate atmosphere right now, Kazuya decides to make a little move. He puts his arm around her shoulder and brings her closer to him. Chizuru stiffens up a little at his move but accepts it nonetheless. It's chilly anyway. It's warm close to him. She convinces herself. They spend another hour walking around the block, enjoying each other's company. They're standing together in front of their apartment stairs. So, I guess this is it. I enjoyed our time today. Really, Chizuru says with heartfelt words. We could do this again, you know. She tucked a stray lock of her hair behind her ear. I don't know. I'm so busy with college, my acting classes, the rental thing. It's your call. If you ever feel stressed out or something and need someone to talk to, I'm just a door away. I'll keep it in mind. There's a lull at this point and Chizuru understands what it's for, but she's not ready to do anything with Kazuya. Thinking about the effort he put in for the date, and how much she enjoyed herself today, she tucks both her hair behind her ears and turns to the side. Kazuya feels a light tap on his cheek as if a feather touched him, and then, nothing. Chizuru had completely run away in embarrassment at her action. He saw a white and pink blur covered by his navy blue blazer running up the stairs and to her apartment. He just admired her waving hair as she ran into her apartment and closed the door. This girl is the queen of mixed signals. He touches his cheek and feels a little wetness there. Thankfully she wasn't wearing any lipstick other than some gloss. He chuckled at the thought. He walks back into his apartment and spends the rest of the time playing video games. Chapter 8: The Ex-Girlfriend, 1/2. Kazuya woke up feeling refreshed the next day. It was Sunday, and he was planning to get the client's project finished and hopefully get more clients. He went to the gym for his daily workout, and when he returned, wearing his gym apparel, sweaty and tired, he ran into Chizuru, who seemed to be waiting for him. Hey Mizuhara, what's up? It was a dig at her since she seemed to be ready to leave for a date. It's nothing, I just wanted to tell you that I had an amazing time with you last night, and wanted to return your blazer. I washed it last night, so you don't need to worry. Haha, your words leave much to be interpreted, Mizuhara. Thanks, although you didn't need to. Date? It's a rental. My weekends are usually booked. I'd freed up yesterday because we had our date. I'm flattered. He smiled while thinking, I'd be more flattered if you weren't going out with another guy right now, but whatever. Are you coming back from the gym? Yeah, I joined one recently. I see. Good for you. Alright, spill it. The actual reason for you being here? You know what, forget it. I'll take care of it myself. She abruptly turned around and left for the rental date. Kazuya was left confused as hell. He opened his mouth to say something but changed his mind and closed it again. Forget it. She'll be back. He goes back into his apartment to take a shower and get to work. He spends the rest of the day working on his freelance project. It took him about 3 hours to complete the task that the client asked for. He sends it in for review and starts looking for other opportunities. By the time it was 6 p.m. he found 2 more clients who were willing to work with him. He was almost done with one of their projects when he got a call from Kai. Yo Kazuchi. Sup Kai? Night out. Free booze. You free? Do you even need to ask that? Of course I'm free. Great. It's at our usual pub. Meet us there at 7. Done. With that Kaib hangs up the phone. Guess I'll finish up with this project and work on the next one tomorrow. While he was working on it he ponders, it's Sunday today. Who the hell plans to get together on a Sunday? I'm gonna be hungover tomorrow. I gotta go to college. In the end, he does end up going because he's confident in his alcohol capacity. It won't be the first time I'm going to college hungover. Finally done with his project he submits it for review. Just one more project left. I'll get it done tomorrow after college. He changes into some stylish clothes and leaves for the pub at 6:30. You're here! Kaib greets him enthusiastically at the elevator. Hey! Did you buy some new clothes? You look badass. Yeah, something like it. He was amused at Kaib since the guy was pretty obviously drunk. Here, drink this. Kaib hands Kazuya a shot glass with some transparent liquid the moment he steps through the elevator. I hope this isn't any drug. Kazuya eyes it warily. Don't worry. It's just a shot of tequila. Everyone who came in had to drink one. Oh cool. He chugs the entire shot and hands the glass back to Kaib. This is good stuff. He can feel his throat burning. Okay, this guy had horrible alcohol tolerance. They walk to the room where the entire group was seated. He opens the door with a slam. Hey guys, sorry for being late. Look whom I brought with me. Even when drunk this guy used the correct whom. Respect. Kazuya thinks and greets everyone. Hey! How is everyone doing? There is utter silence at Kazuya's greeting. Okay, I get it. I was being generic, but seriously? No takers? What's this depressing-ass atmosphere? Kazuya was acting drunker than he was. Han naturally went inside the room and realized that his generic hello wasn't the reason for the silence. He finally noticed a cute blue-eyed blonde with short hair who was sitting with a flask of what he presumed to be beer in her hands. She was wearing cute polka-dotted shorts with frills at the ends along with a plain white collarless t-shirt. She was wearing a loose, dirty green sleeveless short jacket over that t-shirt that went only to her waist. Kazuya-kun. It was Mami Nanami, his ex-girlfriend. Kazuya was stunned for a few seconds at the situation. Kaib elbowed him and gave him a look that said, there's your chance, dude. Get her back, grovel at her feet, lose all your male pride. Okay, maybe not exactly that, but the gist was similar. How've you been, Mami-chan? He naturally takes a seat beside her whilst pushing the guy who was sitting with her. When stuck in an awkward situation, pretend as if nothing's wrong. Because you're the only one making things awkward. Sitting beside her he takes a hold of her beer mug and starts drinking out of it, rudely. I hope you don't mind. I kind of need something to drink right now. Kai, could you order 2 more beers, my man? Thanks. Without waiting for Kaib's reply he turned back. Hey, heartbreaker. What's going on in your life? There was a reason Kazuya was acting like such an asshole. He wanted to gauge what Mami wanted from him. She told him that there was someone else she was with, but he hadn't seen anyone around her yet, so he wanted to know if there was some kind of special meaning behind her actions, or if it was no more than him trying to find meaning in simple, meaningless things. Blondes are usually pretty troublesome, but with that kind of cuteness, she's gotta be way too crazy to not go after if I go by the hot crazy scale. I'm doing fine. I thought you'd be taking the breakup a little hard, but you seem to be doing fine. I'm glad. If that's how you want to play it. To be honest, it was pretty hard on me when it happened. It was like you broke up with me out of the blue. But I understand you had your reasons. I was a pretty sucky boyfriend in all honesty. Mami's face goes through a myriad of complex emotions which is completely analyzed by Kazuya. She's happy that I haven't moved on yet. Why would that be? Unless... Mami-chan. With a serious expression, Kazuya looks at Mami. What is it, Kazu-kun? She cutely tilts her head to the side as she looks at him. Do you think that we could get back together? Kazu-kun. She speaks in a small voice as if she's embarrassed at his sudden drunk question. I'm sorry, but I can't. I'm already with someone else. Yep. This chick is a sadist Yandra who's amused by my misery and wants me to utterly be obsessed with her and her alone. The moment I turn away, she'll start trying to get back together with me and sabotage my other relationship. Phew. That's good. Since you've already moved on, there's no reason for me to stay stuck on you anymore. What? She's flabbergasted at Kazuya's sudden tone change. He went from an abused puppy to an uncaring Sigma in one sentence. Yeah. I wanted to know if you had any feelings for me. Since you don't, I don't have to feel weird moving on. There's this girl that I met recently, she's hot as all hell. Doesn't lose out to you at all. I was planning to ask her out. So since you don't have any lingering feelings for me, I can move on with a clear conscience. He notices Mami's expression morph and sees her eyes going lifeless and dead for a second before she turns to normal. Yep. Sadist Yandra indeed. See how I play you like a fiddle? He chuckled evilly in his mind. Is that so, Kazu-kun? Are you sure you're ready for a relationship? After all, you have many problems. I think I'm ready. Like you have so many issues. From time to time you get this scary-looking face that's such a put-off. Once when I wore a miniskirt, I felt like I was in danger of being assaulted by my own boyfriend. You were so clingy that you never let me leave on time dash. Mami started listing the issues she had with Kazuya in front of all their friends, wanting to break down the pride that he seemed to have just developed within a month of their separation. She was expecting him to break down and get embarrassed to the point of wanting to die, but his reaction was completely out of expectations. Mami. He only spoke one word to her, and that sent chills down her spine. If she thought that the previous Kazuya was scary, she hadn't seen what this one could do. There's a time and a place to air our dirty laundry. It's not during a party. And it's especially not in front of our friends. If you have a problem with me going out with someone, then tell me to my face. Don't use these underhanded tactics. That kind of behavior is disgusting. After Kazuya ripped Mami a new one, he turned to his friends with a fun expression, as if that terrifying expression on his face never even existed. Mami was completely stunned at Kazuya's expression and words and was just left sitting there with a dumb expression on her face. Guys, let's play some drinking games. Enough bullshit about my boring dumb breakup. I'm a sucky boyfriend. Big whoop. Let's get wasted. He rose his mug of beer with a hoot and started chugging. Huh. Everyone started cheering for him with hoots and started chugging their drinks. Let's play beer pong. Chapter 9, The Ex-Girlfriend, February 2nd. Everyone partied like actual college students would have partied and got abso-fucking-lutely hammered. By the end, Kazuya was left thinking, I hope they don't blame me. It wasn't me who decided on a Sunday to party. I just made it a real party. Hey man. I love you to death. Kaib was at his side, hanging on to him for dear life. Alright, buddy. You'll be fine. Kazuya finally dragged Kaib to the cab and put him in it. He'd already set the destination for Kaib's home when he booked the cab, so it wasn't an issue for him. Finally, the only one close enough to him who was hammered was Mami. He wasn't going to send a cute drunk girl home in a cab. Who knows what would happen? Mami. Kazu-kun. In a cute girly voice, she opened her arms and jumped at him. Alright, hold back a little. We're in public. Let's go, I'll take you home. He held Mami's hand and put it over his shoulder and brought his hand to her waist. He almost dragged her off as she kept clinging to him. Hey Mami. Don't you have a boyfriend? You could call him up. I'm sure he'd drop you home. Why would you think that I have a boyfriend, Kazu-kun? Her curious expression with a little pout made her look unbelievably cute. 'Cause that's what you told me. Oh that. Yeah, that's right, Kazu-kun. I have a boyfriend. Are you sad? She looked at him with a pout on her face. Yeah, I'm heartbroken, he said in a flat tone. Aren't I also drunk? How did I end up babysitting everyone? That's right. You should be sad. Why are you going after someone else? You should be more hung up on me. Make the effort to get me back. Maybe I just did what I did to make you jealous. Did you think of that? That's a dangerous line that you're treading, Mami. I'm also drunk right now. I don't know if I'll be able to hold myself back. Oh yeah? She put a finger to her lips and said cutely, I don't believe you. You don't have the balls. At this point, Kazuya was sure that Mami was seducing the fuck out of him. Well, you asked for it. He leads her to an alley and pushes her against the wall before she has a chance to react. When she gets her bearings back, she realizes that she's trapped between the wall and Kazuya's chest. His leg is between her legs, dangerously close to her sweet spot. He's holding her hands above her head and his face is no more than an inch away from her face. She can feel his hot breath mixed with the scent of whiskey as he speaks. Tell me, Mami. Should I go further? His lips are almost brushing against hers. Kazuya. Mami looks down since she's a little overwhelmed by the whole situation. Kazuya uses one of his hands to keep her hands held up and brings the other down to her chin. Pinching her chin between his forefinger and thumb, he pulls her face up. Look at me, Mami. Tell me. What do you want from me? As if she doesn't want to reply to his words, she pouts her lips lightly in anticipation of a kiss and closes her eyes. Kazuya looks at her alluring face that's tempting him to make the devil's mistake. Somehow, this feels extremely cheap. If I kiss her now, it would be like I took advantage of her drunk state. Huh? I don't know if I'm a good guy or a pussy. He pulls back from her face and frees her hands, while walking a step back, freeing her. Kazuya. She opens her eyes with a flutter. Come on. I'll take you to your home. He grabs her hand to put it around her shoulder. She yanks it away and gets a mischievous expression on her face. No. She pouts and extends both her hands at him. I want a piggyback ride. Kazuya is left blinking his eyes in utter bewilderment. I was wrong. This chick isn't a sadistic yandere. She's just found a new toy in me that she wants to play with. He sighs and says, Fine. As he squats in front of Mami, she hugs him from the back tightly, pressing her modest breasts to his back. As he gets up, she wraps her legs around his torso, and he puts his hands on her supple thighs. So soft. He enjoys feeling her thighs and starts walking as she puts her chin on his shoulder. Hey, Kazuya. She whispers right into his ear, making him shiver a little. I swear to God she will be the death of me. What is it, Mami? His tone is exasperated, to say the least at this point. How about we both go to your place? I live with my parents, and they're sort of strict. I don't think that I'd be able to go home in this state. That's not possible, Mami. My apartment is utterly run down with a single futon. I don't think that we can cuddle together to sleep. I feel like I'd get further with her in one night than this virgin beta fuck got in months. I don't mind, Kazuya. We're boyfriend and girlfriend after all. I don't think it would be a problem to stay over at your place. We broke up, Mami. Don't you remember? That was just something I made up. I still consider you as my own, Kazuya. Yep. She thinks I'm her toy. I don't think that's how things work, Mami. There's no reply. Mami? He looks over his shoulder, sees her closed eyes, and feels her steady breathing near his ear. Unfucking believable. She fell asleep before telling me where she lives. Should I just dump her off at the train station? Or maybe a hotel? Kazuya seriously considers it for a few seconds but then rejects the thought. Chizuru? No, I don't think she'd take too kindly to me dumping my ex-girlfriend at her place. Especially after all the chemistry that's going on between us. Her finding out that I was out drinking with my ex will completely ruin all chances I have with her. What else? God, how I wish I could just dump her at a hotel, but it's the same thing with a taxi. I can't just drop her there and leave. Fine, Mami. You win. I'll take you home with me. Hope you don't freak out when you wake up with my morning wood pressing on your pussy. He chuckles evilly at his last thought. He walks home while holding the girl's thighs tightly so she doesn't end up falling. He's also had to fix her arms to stay wrapped around his neck numerous times. Is it me? I guess it is me, isn't it? I like troublesome girls. Someone else would have put her in a taxi and washed his hands with her. He fumbles around his pockets and tries to open his apartment door with the girl still wrapped around him. Thankfully it's late in the night and Chizuru's asleep. I don't know how I deal with the kind of situation where she realized that there was a girl with me and my ex at that. Finally opening the door to his apartment, he is glad that he's cleaned the place up. There are no more used ramen cups around, There are especially no more used tissues just fallen around the whole apartment. The original had a special trash can specially dedicated to his cum tissues. The guy was a weird fucking fetishist. The fact that he'd had more than one fantasy of someone else fucking his girl was concerning enough. Entering his apartment, he closed the door with his foot and sighed. He looked over his shoulder to see the cute and peaceful face of the innocent-looking Mami. Looking at her angelic appearance, no one would be able to tell that she's probably a devil at her core. Or at the very least went through something that shaped her personality that way. Whatever. He walks to his futon and kneels in front of it. He turns around, gently dropping Mami on the futon, and lays a blanket over her. I need a drink. He goes to the kitchen and brings out a cheap bottle of whiskey that he'd brought recently. Pouring it into a glass with a few ice cubes, he adds equal parts soda to it, and goes to the balcony to get some fucking peace. His apartment is on the first floor, so there's nothing much going for a view there, but at least it's peaceful. Kazuya-kun? Kazuya hears someone call out his name and turns left only to see Chizuru, who's wearing her pajamas and a baggy t-shirt, looking at him. Hey, Chizuru. His tone is a little tired. Everything alright? You seem like you're about to die of exhaustion. It's nothing. Why were you out so late at night? It's nothing. She chuckles at the similarity of both of their answers. Since neither of us wants to talk about it, let's just enjoy the night sky. You want a drink? Kazuya raises his glass to show her his drink. What is that? Cheap whiskey and soda. Count me in. Here. He hands her his glass, which she eyes for a few seconds but then takes with a shrug of her shoulders. Kazuya goes back in to make another glass and returns in less than a minute. Hey, Kazuya. Kazuya-kun. She corrects herself after she forgets to address him without the honorific. Just call me Kazuya, and let me call you Chizuru. It's easier that way. I don't like using honorifics that much anyway. He doesn't give her a choice and just states that he'll be calling her Chizuru. That's the best way to deal with this tsundere. I'm coming to your side. I hope you have 2 chairs. Drunk Kazuya is spontaneous Kazuya. He decided to jump over the separation between their balconies. He hands her his drink first. Here, hold on. Chizuru is stunned but grabs his glass nonetheless. He climbs over the wall and jumps onto her side. Hi, Chizuru. He smiles at her. She's feeling awkward at his actions and smiles a forced smile at him while handing him back his glass. Thankfully, there's an extra chair that she has and she brings it to the balcony to let Kazuya sit on it. They both sit in silence for a while as they lose themselves in the night sky while taking light sips of the drink. Do you like whiskey, Chizuru? Yeah. As fucked up as it sounds, it reminds me of my grandpa. And your grandpa? Kazuya trails off. He's gone. I only have my grandma. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be sorry. They spend almost half an hour staring at the night sky in mostly silence, finishing both their whiskeys. I'll leave the glasses here. Give them to me tomorrow. Asshole. He left the glasses here so that I would wash them for him. She mumbles under her breath as Kazuya jumps over the separation back to his apartment. He went back into his apartment and looked at Mami, who was drooling on his pillow. That's my pillow she's drooling on. He realizes when he sees the pillow that he set her head on fallen to the side. How am I even supposed to sleep here? Somehow, with a lot of gentle and tiring effort, Kazuya was able to push Mami toward the bookshelf side of the futon without waking her up. He then lies down on the other side. What other side? There's no other side. He's lying with half his body on the floor trying to sleep on the other side. Fuck it. You wanted to seduce me, right, Mami? He turns onto the bed and takes the necessary amount of space for him to sleep and pulls Mami to lie halfway on his chest. Might as well cuddle with her. Drunk Kazuya is also dumb Kazuya, who didn't have the idea of sleeping on the carpet. He hugs her with his hands on her lower waist and closes his eyes, feeling the soft breathing of the cute blonde on his chest. I wanted to play some games after I got back home. He isn't able to sleep that easily. Hell, no one's got the ability to sleep that easily. Thankfully, she didn't vomit all over me. Or God forbid all over my apartment. It would be an unbelievable pain to clean. He looks at the innocent-looking girl sleeping peacefully on his chest. Chapter 10, Weekend Plans. The next day, Kazuya woke up only to see Mami's face drooling all over his chest. My head fucking hurts. Mami, I need you to wake up. He gently shook her, trying to wake her up. He could tell that she was awake but was just pretending to be asleep. Stop pretending. I know you're awake. Mao Kazukun's no fun. She looks into his eyes. Good morning, Kazukun. She opens her beautiful blue eyes and looks at Kazuya with a playful look. Kazuya notices some dried drool on her face but doesn't comment on it. Before Kazuya can reply, she stiffens up completely. Morning, Mami. He's not paying much attention because he just woke up. Kazuke-kun. Her voice is a little stiff. Everything okay, Mami? I feel something on my leg. She speaks in a squeaky voice. She was half lying on Kazuya, so his morning wood was pressed on her inner thigh. It's my morning wood, Mami-chan. If you want, you can help me with it. He smirks at her. She pouts cutely and blushes while getting off his chest. Kazukun is teasing me. Kazuya also gets up as Mami looks at his lower half, which is still bulging. Don't stare at it like that. You'd give a guy a complex. He chuckles at Mami. Sorry, Kazukun. Don't be. At least you didn't overreact to it and started screaming and kicking me. I call that a win. Hee hee. She cutely giggles. I already miss drunk Mami. At least she wasn't so unnatural. So, you want to stay for breakfast or do you want to go back home? Is Kazukun going to cook for me? She tilts her head cutely while joining her hands. Sure. I make a mean French toast. I'll make it for you too if you're up for it. That's great. Thank you, Kazukun. This chick is acting more like my girlfriend after she broke up with me. I honestly can't get a read on her or what she wants. There's the bathroom. You can freshen up till I get some stuff ready. He points to the bathroom. Okay, Kazukun. She hurriedly walks into the bathroom and slams the door shut. That was an experience. He shakes his head and walks to the kitchen. My t-shirt is covered in drool. He feels the wet patch on his chest and scrunches his eyes in annoyance. Forget it. He mumbles and starts preparing breakfast. A few minutes later, Mami is out of the bathroom looking pretty much the same. Guess she's no worse than Chizuru when it comes to natural beauty. Should I help Kazukun? Here. I need you to beat these eggs. He hands her a few tasks to help him. She acts like a diligent cooking assistant and follows the tasks to a T. When they're finally done, they take a seat and eat the toast. This is amazing, Kazukun. Thanks, Mami. He acknowledges her compliment and focuses on his toast because he's pretty hungry. They eat breakfast in silence since they both have some minor headaches after the previous night. See you later, Kazukun. When she turns around, her blonde hair flies through the air. Pink highlights. I didn't notice them last night. Cute. Kazuya thinks as he closes his door after seeing that Mami's completely gone. I'm impressed by her though. That chick was so absolutely hammered last night, and she's perfectly fine tonight. Guess she's got some experience drinking too. I want to get another place. I like staying beside Chizuru and all, but last night was dangerous. The morning, even more so. And it's not like I'll be getting rid of this place. I'll stay at both places. Gotta make some money for that first. But first. Quests. Quests. Main quest, entrepreneur. Side quest, no lonely bitches here. Side quest, get that girl. Side quest, she belongs on the streets. Side quest, income source. Daily quest, shape up. Daily quest, learn to defend. He raises an eyebrow when he sees the quest title. Doesn't seem to be that inaccurate though. Side quest, she belongs on the streets. Your maybe ex-girlfriend is trying to play with your feelings. Show her her place and set her straight. Make her your bitch. Objective, get Mami Nanami to agree to be your girlfriend. Rewards, intermediate business studies knowledge, intermediate human psychology knowledge. After looking over the quest description, he has only one thing to think of, sassy-ass system. Looking at the rewards, I can agree that she's manipulative as fuck. He gets ready for his gym and decides to spend only an hour there since he was delayed by Mami and the breakfast. The rest of the week flies by with no major incidents. He's still ignored by Chizuru like the plague in college. Mami's grown a little closer to him after the previous drunk night. She's been trying to keep him on the hook and mess with him that she does have a boyfriend. Coincidentally, he's never seen the guy with her and wondered if the so-called guy even existed. He didn't care that much about Mami. He was just going with the flow while working on his freelance stuff. He still texted about some random stuff with Chizuru late at night while gaming. Their late night talk over whiskey wasn't mentioned by either of them. He knew that she was probably going through some stuff and needed some company. He was just glad to enjoy a drink with a beauty like Chizuru while admiring the night sky. He followed his usual routine of the daily gym in the morning, followed by college, and then MMA classes right after that. Then he spent more time working on his freelance stuff this week and got about 5 more projects completed and reviewed after the ones that he completed over the weekend. That made 7 projects. He made almost 300,000 yen with those 7 projects. I love computer science. I made $2,000 within a week and worked no more than 2 hours on the weekdays. He's working on a US-based freelance site where they pay him in dollars, which he then transfers to his account. He'd already started getting offers to work on people's projects, so he was going to work whenever he wants to work and wouldn't have to waste too much time trying to apply and bid on projects anymore. Finally, on Friday after college, he was hanging out with Kai when he was told about the plans for the weekend since the summer vacation was starting. Shimoda? Like the beach? Yeah. 2 days at the beach. The seniors were planning this as a ploy to get closer to the girls and see them in cute bikinis. I don't think you're supposed to say that out loud. Whatever. It's not gonna be a problem. Kai waves his hand in dismissal. This guy's just going to get beat up someday. I just know it. Though they're going to be the same people as in the pub last time. Kazuya smirks. Mami in a bikini, eh? Yeah. You boy got a chance with her again after you blew it last week. I didn't blow it with her. We went home together. Bullshit. Well, don't believe me. Kazuya shrugs his shoulders. Also, did they just make this plan today? 1 day's notice for a weekend trip is a bit difficult. Oh, the plan's been up for the whole week. I just told you today because I know you have nothing better to do than masturbate during the weekend. Right. Kazuya trails off his words and looks into the distance in melancholy. Nice way to kick off the summer, I guess. He mumbles. Look, can't we go somewhere else? We have a hot spring in our room. There's even a pool on the 4th floor. Nerdy Chizuru is talking with her only 2 friends in college, and they're some of the victims that are falling into the ploys of the seniors. Chizuru was trying to convince them against going, but they were pretty much filtering out her words of persuasion. Wait, stop. We have an online test in the morning tomorrow. We'll be late getting there. It's fine, we can just leave an hour later. It shouldn't be a problem. Guys, is no one going to listen to me? Ichi-chan, come on. What's the point if we go somewhere else? What if there is nothing but old sweaty guys there? We're 3 cute girls going to the beach. We should at least go there with the people we know. Yeah, we're in college. We should enjoy things. I heard even Brad's coming. That cute foreigner who just transferred? Now we definitely have to go there. Chizuru's protests died down under her friend's enthusiasm. Damn it. He's going to be there. I don't. It's the sea. A girl was waving her scarf out the window of the car as she looked to the side and saw the sea. It feels so good to come out after all those exams. Don't come crying after you find out you failed. Says the guy who's copied all my assignments. Meanwhile, Kazuya and Kaib were sitting in the back seat. We had exams? Kazuya asked Kaib with a blank look on his face. Oh, don't worry. They were for the literature department. We didn't have any tests. Cool. Let's check into the hotel first. Chapter 11, The Maybe Girlfriend and the Ex, January 4th. Here's your key. You're in room 704. Kaib handed Kazuya his key. Why didn't you bunk with someone? It'd have cost you less. And miss out on maybe bringing a girl to my room cause my roommate was there with me? No thanks. Like your virgin ass is bringing a girl to your room on this trip. Kazuya gave Kaib a cheeky smirk and turned around. I'll change up and meet you down here in 10 minutes. While walking away, he looks to the side and notices Mami wearing a cute dress. She notices him and waves at him. He waves back with a smile and keeps walking. I need to go to the toilet, she said to one of her friends. Quick, Mami-chan, everyone is waiting. Her friend went to the restroom and called out to her. When she looks at Mami, though, she gets the chills of her life. Mami's expression is dead with lifeless eyes while she looks at her phone as she asks her friend. Are you on Twitter or something? And no. Instagram? And no, Mami Dano. She reflexively changes the honorific she used for Mami. Then what are you doing with your life? Mami mumbles under her breath and looks down. I can't wait for the beach. I'm so excited. Let's go to the sea. Let's have some fun. Her entire demeanor changed in the blink of an eye, and she returned to the cheery-looking, happy-go-lucky Mami. She walks away to change into her swimsuit. Her friend meanwhile is left there frozen after the terrifying feeling that Mami gave her. "Hurry up, Chizuru! We already arrived late. Everyone's already started the party. Let's go!" Her friend pulls a reluctant Chizuru through the beach. She's wearing a big fedora covering her head while she's still in her twin-tail hairdo and is also wearing her glasses. She's wearing a striped baggy beach t-shirt with denim shorts and slippers as she tries to keep her face hidden. She looks around sneakily, wanting to avoid Kazuya if she sees him. Kazuya was lying on a beach chair, sunbathing in his swimming shorts while admiring the beautiful girls in a bikini. That one's a 7. Inwardly rating the girls based on his preferences, he enjoyed his time at the beach. Kai was nowhere to be seen when he came down. Probably gone off to look for curry. So, he just went out to the beach and lay down on one of the beach chairs, rating the girls and enjoying life. "Kazuya-kun?" He turns his head to see Mami in her bikini with a matching jacket over herself. "Damn girl, you're wearing the American flag as your bikini. And looking damn sexy wearing that. Hee, really Kazuya-kun? Yeah. You need a drink?" He gets up from his chair and goes to the ice boxes. "Yes, some orange juice for me, please." "Alrighty." He opens the icebox and fumbles around for 2 bottles of orange juice. "Here you go." He hands her the bottle. "You having fun here?" "Yeah, enjoying the group's first day of the summer holidays at the beach. I'm having a lot of fun. Just missing a girl at my side to make it perfect." "Oh, silly Kazuya-kun." Mami playfully slaps his arm and turns around, walking away. "I hope Chizuru comes here. It's a pretty big college trip and summer's just started, so she should be here. Her presence would do wonders for Mami's annoying fuckery. Bitch always leaves me hanging." Kazuya goes to a group of people playing in the water and joins them. Soon they all come out of the water to get some drinks and rest up. Yumai. The girl who was complaining about her exams in the car was called out and turned around. "Shinbo? You guys are here too? Great, we'll have." At this point, Kazuya had stopped paying attention to the side characters and was staring intently at a girl with 2 braids and big glasses that covered her face. Well damn. Talk about jinxing. I should expect more things from the world. Kazuya chuckled inwardly. Chizuru was looking at him with a passive expression on her face that said, "I need to think about how to avoid you." "Ichihara-san, how are you?" Kazuya doesn't give her the time to think up an excuse and says to her. She smiles naturally and mentions, "It's Ichinos. And I'm doing well, thank you." The look in her eyes is a little frightening for Kazuya. "I was just playing along with your whole, we don't know each other in college." He gives her a look as if to convey his thoughts. "Hey, Kazuya. Isn't that the girl that dropped her papers that day?" Kai asks him from the side. "Yeah, it's her. Did you ask her out?" "No, why would I do that? I don't know, I was just curious." Kazuya and Kai are huddled in the corner and having their conversation as everyone else decides to get lunch. Everyone separates after that, and Kazuya goes to the souvenir shop to look for something fun and use the restroom. He runs into Chizuru, who was also walking toward the restroom. "You!" She points at him. He recoils a little at her aggression. "What? Come here." She grabs his hand and pulls him into the restroom. "Whoa there, Chizuru. You're giving me mixed signals here. On one hand, you refused another date, and on another, you're pulling me into the restroom for some kinky sex. I don't know what to think." "Shut it. I hear one word from you and you won't be having kids anytime soon." She raises her leg a little such that it's dangerously close to his dick. He raises his hands in alarm and obediently shuts up. "Good. Now why are you here?" Kazuya is quiet since her knee is still close to his balls. She gets back. "It's fine, tell me. Can't risk my baby makers. And to answer your question, I'm here to enjoy the summer with my friends." "What about you?" He answered as if they were having small talk. "This is serious. You can't let anyone find out about my thing. I've worked hard to keep things hidden, and you're not ruining it. Come on. I thought that after all this time you'd have at least developed some sort of trust in me to keep your identity hidden." Kazuya is a little pissed at Chizuru acting as if they aren't even familiar with each other. I'm sorry. I was a little agitated. But this is too important to me and I cannot let anyone find out about my situation." "I understand. I'll make sure that no one finds out. But you have to work with me here. You need to understand that my being friends with your college persona is not a problem. If anything, it's going to be helpful for you in the long run, since if something ever happens I would be able to cover for you. I'll think about it. That's all I ask from you. Is that you? That's Mami's voice as both Chizuru and Kazuya turn to the door in mock dramatics. Kazu-kun? Well, this is going to be difficult to explain. How do you feel about your college persona being my girlfriend? It can be like a little fling for the summer. What do you say? Kazuya quickly whispers to Chizuru. If I play this right, I might just be able to make Mami jealous while also getting some fun with Chizuru. Kazu-kun? Mami calls out from behind the door. What? No. That's the best option for us to explain without telling Mami about your rental thing. There are better options, but telling her that wouldn't be very useful now, would it? Foo-foo. The guy chuckles evilly inwardly. Just get out. Chizuru pushes him toward the door. Fine. It was worth a shot. I guess she's smarter than I give her credit for. Kazuya walks out of the restroom without fully opening the door and hiding Chizuru. Hey, Mami. What are you doing here? He closes the door behind him with a smile. Who was in there with you? I was video calling my grandma. You know how she is. Anyway, come on, let's get back to the group. He grabs Mami's hand and starts pulling her away. But wait, Dash. Come on. We don't want to be late. Click. Suddenly the door to the restroom opens and out comes Chizuru. She's still in her nerdy outfit, but her t-shirt was tied into a knot and pulled slightly up such that it became a makeshift crop top that emphasized her breasts. She's put on some minor makeup and that's it. I don't know whether to thank her for taking my advice or tell her that I had it handled and all she had to do was to stay inside the restroom. Thanks for taking care of Kazuya-kun and Mami-san. Chizuru gives her a little bow to be polite. Kazu-kun, you dog. You didn't tell me that the girl that you were planning to ask out was Ichino-san. Mami proceeds to completely ignore Chizuru and gives Kazuya a blaming look. Yeah. I thought that would become more awkward if you saw her, so I wasn't planning to publicize my relationship with her yet, but I guess the cat's out of the bag now. I'm going out with her. He goes up to her and hugs her shoulder. He can feel her stiffen from his touch. You are the one who brought this upon yourself. I'm just making use of your actions to benefit me. He notices Mami looking at Chizuru's chest. She then proceeds to zip up her jacket discreetly. So Miss Manipulator is also a little self-conscious. Mami is in a bit of a daze as Kaib and Curry also appear nearby. Chapter 12. The Maybe Girlfriend and the X2 of 4. Mami is in a bit of a daze as Kaib and Curry also appear nearby. You bastard, you lied to me. You said you didn't ask her out at that time. Surprise. He gestures to Chizuru. Come on, we should get back to the beach. Our food's probably here. All four of them go out of the souvenir shop and walk back to the beach. Mami excuses herself to take a phone call. Chizuru pulls him behind a beach house away from prying ears. You know you have got to stop pulling me like this. My shorts might come off. Kazuya fixes his shorts. My bad. Why is that? I got a cute girlfriend for the duration of the summer, and now my ex is jealous of me. It's a win-win situation for me. But you were taking her away, and I just stepped out thinking that I might as well pretend to be your girlfriend. Yeah, that was dumb of you, but it's fine. I'll show you how much fun a college romance can be. We're already lying, might as well enjoy it. What do you say? He extends his hand to her. I'll think about it. But first, I just want to get through this beach date. She looks away, embarrassed by his earnest look. Oh, sneaking off away alone already, huh? You guys are so cute. Mami appears out of nowhere. Come on, let's go. So how'd you guys end up meeting anyway? One of Chizuru's friends asks at the table where they're all eating. It's not anything special. One day we just ran into each other in college and she dropped a few papers. I decided to shoot my shot when returning them to her. And as they say, the rest is history. Really? That sounds nice. Mami was also sitting with everyone, which made the atmosphere a bit heavy. Hey everyone, this atmosphere feels pretty heavy. What happened between me and Kazu-kun is pretty much settled. I'm also in a relationship, so I don't think there's anything to worry about. Let's just have a fun time at the beach. With this non-existent boyfriend. Sure. She starts talking about the guy with her friend as Chizuru gives Kazuya a look. It's all fine. He conveyed to her with a look. So, Ichino-sen, I think that if you open up your hair and remove your glasses, you'd look amazing. You already have such an amazing body. Mami eyes Chizuru's chest. Well, I don't like wearing my contacts, and I need my glasses to look. And the hair, well, it's a convenient hairstyle. I see. But you're really pretty. It's probably tough going out with Kazuya, no? Huh? You know. He's not that type of guy. Like, he gets this scary look on his face from time to time. After the first kiss, he'd even stopped caring for her. Again? What the hell? It's like she's some kind of broken tape recorder. Kazuya gets an annoyed look on his face at Mami's words, but suddenly Chizuru slams the table. Don't you think it's rude to talk about your ex that way? And in the time we've been going out, he's been nothing but an amazing gentleman. I don't know whom you're talking about, but this guy isn't that. Maybe it's you who was a bad girlfriend. With the last sentence, Chizuru gets this protective look on her face and hugs Kazuya's arm. Damn this perfect girlfriend. Kazuya thinks as Chizuru's tits brush against his arm. Really then, Chizuru-san? If my words made you mad, then I'll apologize for it. Mami, I told you this that day, and I'm telling you this today. Don't air our dirty laundry for no reason at all. You want to take a walk, Chizuru? After giving her a chilling look, Kazuya ignores Mami entirely and asks Chizuru. Sure. Let's go then. He naturally holds her hand and gets up from the beach table that everyone was eating on. He also conveniently grabs both his and Chizuru's lunch boxes so that they can eat on the way. The two of them walk along the beach shore hand in hand. You didn't have to do that, you know. I wanted to. You're nothing like what she said, and even if temporary, I'm your girlfriend. Here. Chizuru holds a bite of their food in front of Kazuya's mouth. Yeah, you're the cutest, Chizuru. I think I'm lucky to have you as my girlfriend. Kazuya says emphatically before taking the bite she was holding in front of his face. What are you saying? Dumbass. You want to take a swim? I don't have my swimsuit. Bullshit. I can see that strap. And I know for a fact that that's a bikini underneath your unassuming clothing. Pervert. She punches his arm. I wore this underneath thinking that it was a trip with my girls. Now that there's everyone else here, I'm not gonna risk it. I'll respect your choice. He gets a little closer to her and fixes her shirt so that her bikini strap isn't visible anymore. Thanks, she says in a quiet voice. They walk along the beach for a while as Chizuru feeds Kazuya and eats her food while he holds onto both boxes. Let's go back. You can have fun with your friends for a while. I'll take a swim. I want to see you in that bikini, so let's come back here at night. When no one's here. Okay? That sounds fun. Even she wanted to wear just her bikini at the beach. She was forced to wear conservative clothes due to the presence of other people from the college who could find out her other identity. He leads her back to the table from where Mami is suspiciously missing. I'm sorry about Mami-chan, Ichino-san. Some of Mami's friends apologize to Chizuru and Kazuya walks away to the sea to cool down. My head feels a little woozy. Chizuru has a slight blush on her face, and it's not because she's wearing makeup or is embarrassed. It'll be fine, she thinks. Kazuya walks to the water and starts going deeper. There's a rock formation nearby him, so he uses the rocks as leverage to lean on and admire the sea view. What a view, eh? He takes a deep breath of the fresh ocean breeze. Suddenly a petite body jumps out of the water in front of him, startling him. Hey, Kazu-kun. Mami. His face is flat as if his entire mood to enjoy the cool sea breeze has been ruined. I'm sorry for saying all that stuff, Kazu-kun. I'm not sure what got all over me. I'm not in the mood to listen, Mami. Just, let me enjoy the view. Okay. I truly am sorry though. It was wrong and insensitive of me. Yeah, I believe you. You're bullshit, that is. He thinks inwardly. It's fine, Mami. It's probably just as your girlfriend said. Maybe I wasn't a good girlfriend for you. She slowly leads him toward the back of the rock formation. But damn, it was a pretty good month. We had so much fun. We went to Disneyland, that tacky cafe. Oh, and the theme park. That was so much fun. She keeps going. Remember when we kissed impulsively at the end of our date? What was it, our second date? Third. Huh. It was our third date. After the theme park. See, you do remember, Kazu-kun. We had so much fun. We'd even decided to name our kids. What kind of cringy fucker was this? I have no recollection of the name of this hypothetical child. Wait. Yeah. It was Maya, right? Kazuya remembers an obscure name that was made up of a combination of both of their names and cringes inwardly. Yeah. I guess we were just not supposed to be. She gets a melancholic look on her face. Maya either. Now she's going to make a move on me, isn't she? Kazuya realizes that they're at the back of the rock formation and away from prying eyes. She walks out of his view and calls out to him. Kazu-kun, I can't find my bracelet. Can you help me? If I don't get at least a full-on makeout session from this, I will be so mad. He thinks as he turns around to look for Mami. Mami? I'm here, Kazuya-kun. She was bent over with her knees submerged completely in the water and was looking for her bracelet. Kazuya had the perfect view of Mami's perfect bikini-clad ass. I want to grab that ass. At this point, his hormones were taking over and he was getting an erection looking at a perfect ass. I'm tempted to say that this is America's ass, but this isn't a Marvel story. And the ass in front of me is that of a cute petite college chick. She seems to trip a little and walks back into Kazuya. He welcomes her with open arms. Come to daddy, little lamb. As she bumps into him for some support, he slides his hands over her waist and crosses them over her belly. His pelvis is pushing against her butt. Your skin's so smooth, Mami. He whispers into her ear. Kazu-kun. She acts proactively and turns around to face him. He turns the both of them around and pushes her against the rock, getting close to her. With one leg in between her thighs and his arms around her waist, he waits for her move next. She doesn't disappoint him and holds his head with her hands and proceeds to kiss him. She was going to pull back after a simple peck, but Kazuya wasn't planning to let her go that easily. He was planning to collect interest. Chapter 13. The Maybe Girlfriend and the Ex, 3 of 4. She doesn't disappoint him and holds his head with her hands and proceeds to kiss him. She was going to pull back after a simple peck, but Kazuya wasn't planning to let her go that easily. He was planning to collect interest. Pushing her further against the rock, he raises his leg to touch her sweet spot. She moans a little into his mouth at the sudden sensation and tries to pull back and feign resistance, but Kazuya doesn't let her. Bringing a hand up behind her head, he runs his fingers through the back of her hair and holds on to the back of her head. Then he pushes his tongue into her mouth dominantly as they start their battle of tongues. At this point her hands were on his chest, rubbing the newly defined muscles that he'd worked on. As they keep going for a while, Kazuya keeps rubbing his knee lightly at her sweet spot. His other hand holds onto the side of her waist, occasionally squeezing her soft and supple skin. After what felt like hours of kissing, they pull back due to the need for air. When he pulls back from Mami, he notices that her face was completely red and she was breathing heavily. She was embarrassed and hugs him close with her head on his chest. He can feel his erection after that hot makeout session touching Mami's stomach. I'm sorry, Kazu-kun. She whispers while hugging him, not acknowledging his erection. I don't think you're that sorry. But neither am I, babe. I got a fun makeout session. Now what to do about this raging boner? He looks at Mami's alluring body and gets nefarious thoughts but pushes them down. Not yet. She won't agree. And I'm not much for forcing girls. Here you go, Mami. Here's your bracelet. He grabs onto the bracelet that she was supposedly looking for, and her hand also gets lifted with the bracelet. Hee. Sorry, Kazu-kun. I guess I was worried for nothing. Right. Stay here for a few minutes. I'll go back first. I don't want Chizuru to find out about this. Will you help me with that? He gives her an earnest look. She nods enthusiastically. You can count on me. She pats her chest with her hand, making her modest boobs jiggle. Like hell, I'll count on your unreliable ass. Though it is a nice ass. He leaves the rock formation and swims back to the shore. He notices everyone talking animatedly at the table while Chizuru is playing poker with another girl and, as it seems, losing badly. He goes up to them. Hey guys, and takes a seat next to Chizuru. How was your swim? She turns around to look at him the moment she loses the match. I had fun. A whole lot of fun indeed. He smirks inwardly. Hey no! You don't get to back out of this. We both agreed that the loser would play the Pocky game. But dash. No buts. What's this about the Pocky game? Kazuya asks Chizuru. Whoa, Ichino-sen, you look red. Are you alright? Mami interrupts their conversation and has a concerned look on her face. No, I'm okay. It's just that the weather is hot and I'm not used to being out in this kind of weather. Chizuru starts talking to Mami as if she found a lifeline. So what's this about a Pocky game? Kazuya insists to know what's going on and doesn't let Chizuru go scot-free. Chizuru doesn't answer, but her opponent does for her. Whoever lost at poker first would have to play the Pocky game. That's what we decided. I see. What do you say, babe? He touches her shoulder with his. This is bad. My mind is hazing up. Sure, let's play. She didn't really have a problem with that. She was just hesitant. Either that or she wasn't thinking straight. He brings his face close to her ear and whispers, "You sure you're okay? You can rest in the hotel if you're feeling too tired." He turns his head so that her mouth is close to his ear. "It's fine, you don't have to worry." She's a bit of an iron lady about showing any sort of weakness. If you say so. Seeing them act so romantic and lovey-dovey, everyone makes a few stray comments which Kazuya ignores as they start the game. Chizuru puts one end of the candy stick into her mouth and faces Kazuya. "Damn girl, you're prompting me to utterly defile you with that expression." Kazuya can't help but get mesmerized by how hot she looks even though she's in her nerdy getup. He brings his mouth to the other end, or at least tries to. Chizuru decides to mess with him by moving her mouth around and not letting him touch the stick. After a few tries, she giggles at his attempts as everyone else follows. "So you want to play it like that, eh?" He uses his free hand and grabs the back of her neck, forcing her to keep her face stable. He smirks and finally grabs the other end of the stick in his mouth. She can see the slight victorious grin on his face and pouts slightly. My good man has finally grown up. Seeing Kazuya's utterly confident actions, Kai goes off to the side and wipes his tears of pride at what seems like Kazuya's growth from that fumbling idiot that he used to be. Little does he know that it's not simple growth. There was an utter and complete change of personality. 3, 2, 1, start! With the countdown, the game finally starts. Whoever breaks the stick first would lose. Whoever got through more than half of the stick would win, and if they end up kissing, it's a tie. Those are the rules of the game. Kazuya might not seem like it, but he was a pretty competitive person, and Chizuru's current alluring actions had him completely planning to win. And that win wasn't Chizuru breaking the stick, or him getting through half the stick. A win in his books was him kissing Chizuru, and he wasn't planning to let this chance go. He went ahead, slowly biting into tiny chunks of the stick as Chizuru does the same with her utmost concentration. She doesn't seem to have any idea of kissing him. She just wants to win. She aggressively starts fast but slows down when she feels the integrity of the stick weakening. Slowly they keep on going, and in the final stretch, Kazuya makes an unexpected move and sucks in a big part of the stick, which leads him directly to Chizuru's lips. As he looks directly into her eyes while touching her soft lips with his, she widens her eyes and pulls back. "Right after making out with my ex, I'm kissing my new maybe girlfriend. I guess I understand why people cheat on their partners so much. There's a weird excitement that I feel. But it's also fleeting. So fucking fleeting. If I hadn't kissed Mami beforehand, this would have felt so much better. I guess I can't go around like a hypocrite that constantly lies to my girl. If I get into a serious relationship with someone, the first thing that I'm doing is to come clean about what I want, and see how things go from there." Right as Kazuya finishes that inner monologue, Chizuru pushes him away from her as she blushes up a storm, looking at something that seems really interesting in her lap. He smirks as he eats the rest of the Pocky stick that came out from her lips. Sweet, a bit different from the candy. He tastes her lip gloss in that last part of the stick. Thankfully she didn't slap me in front of everyone. That would have been difficult to deal with. He looks at her embarrassed face. "Kazuya, I need to talk to you for a minute." She abruptly grabs his arm and rushes away with him. "You think they're gonna do it?" Kuri asks out loud. "That's when you decide to stop being quiet?" Kaib smacks his head as he notices Mami, who had that look with lifeless eyes on her face. "What the hell was that?" Chizuru screams at Kazuya with no restraint. "You had no right to do dash." "Whoa. Whoa. Whoa. Hold up right there." Kazuya's face is impassive. "I had no right? I didn't force you to play that Pocky game with me. You were the one who initiated the game." "Yeah, but..." She doesn't have anything to say for that retort. "Here, drink some water. Cool down before screaming at me again." He hands her a bottle of water that he grabbed before they left. She takes it and downs the entire bottle. "Better?" "Yeah." Her voice is as low as a mosquito. She was internally freaking out, damn it. My first kiss. I've always kept a distance from the clients. So why is it that he? She was forced to confront the thought that he wasn't a client. I'm sorry for lashing out at you like that. She takes a deep breath. As you should be. It wasn't my fault at all. You were totally leading me on. It was fully my fault. I could have won without kissing her, but where's the fun in that? He laughs inwardly. Hey, I agree it was my fault for lashing out at you, but you were equally to blame. If you didn't skip that piece at the end, then I'd know when to pull back. You just abruptly kissed me like that. Will you let me go if I let you kiss me like that? Yes, I would like that dash. She abruptly stopped and gave him a death stare so terrifying that it almost scared the crap out of him. The keyword here is almost. I'll kill you! She balled up her fists and threw a punch at him. Chapter 14. The maybe girlfriend and the ex for a 4. A/N. For all you dumbass thinking that Kazuya keeps falling into Mami's traps. He's not. He's fully in control and knows what he's doing. Is he a scumbag? Yes. Does he want them all? Yes. If he had to choose, who would he choose? He would choose Chizuru. Don't make the story concrete yet. I haven't even posted 20 chapters yet. Hell. I might someday decide to fuck the harem and just keep Chizuru as his only girl. Or maybe Mami will die from a car crash. Or maybe Ruka will come and stab Kazuya. Anything can happen. I only ask you to be patient and keep reading. Author rant over. I'll kill you! She balled up her fists and threw a punch at him. He calmly grabbed her fist with an amused smile. She tried to hit him with another of her fists, but he grabs that one too. Calm down, he says as he dodges a kick from her. This is domestic violence. His words only seem to rile her up more as she gets even more aggressive. Finally, she gets tired enough and stops hitting him, or trying to hit him at least. You got it out of your system? He asks Chizuru, who's holding her knees panting. Ha! Ha! Yeah. She was breathing pretty heavily and got up to look at him with a red face. Suddenly, she collapsed on her spot. Kazuya hurriedly caught her before she hit the ground. Chizuru! He held her by her waist as she almost fell. Okay. I did not think this through. She was sick and I made her so mad. I feel like shit now. Hey. You okay? She's still conscious but is too weak to even stand. I'm fine. Just let me. She tries to push him away but isn't even able to muster the strength to lift her arms. All she ends up doing is wiggling her body in his embrace. If you keep doing this, you might not like the outcome. He discreetly mentions his little brother that's getting stimulated due to her wiggling body. She stiffens up and obediently lets Kazuya hold her. Piggyback or princess? He asks her. She gives a questioning hum. How do you want me to carry you? Piggyback ride or princess carry? No, don't worry about it. Just let me rest for a bit. I'll be fine. It's crystal clear to him that she is not going to be fine. Princess it is. He brings his hands under her knees and picks her up. He feels her thighs and can't help but think soft. More supple than Mami's. But Mami's got her unique charm too. Hey, stop it! She struggles as much as she can. I'll drop you if you keep moving like that. Damn it, just let me go. Stop trying to involve yourself with me so much. She gets all defensive and lashes out at him again. She really cannot accept to be seen as even a little weak, can she? I will not be doing that. Your current state is half my fault. And if you forgot, you're my girlfriend, at least temporarily. Now I'm going to take you to the beach, we'll grab some juice. And I'll take you back to the hotel to rest. He doesn't give her a chance to respond and starts walking toward the beach. Hey! Hey, wait. Not the beach. We can get juice at the hotel too. Just drop me off at the lobby. She finally gives in but is adamant about not being seen by anyone. He narrows his eyes at her. Okay. He turns and starts walking in the opposite direction. Soon Chizuru is asleep in his arms as he gently holds her while walking to the hotel. Finally, as he reaches the lobby he thinks she doesn't have her bag. I don't know her room number either. I'll just put her to sleep in mine. What's the worst that could happen? He goes up to his room by the lift and fumbles around for his keycard for a few minutes. This took much more effort than it should have. Finally opening the door to his room, he walks in with Chizuru in his arms. After finally tucking Chizuru into bed, he texted Kai. Dude, I need you to keep Chizuru's bag with you. She was feeling pretty sick, so I brought her back to my room. Keep the bag with you. I'll take it later. Chizuru? Fuck Sake man. Itchy nose. She's the girl that I left with. It should be obvious that I'm talking about her. Alright bro, geez. Now what do I do with this rude piece of work? Guess I should at least give her something to drink. Calling up room service, he orders some juice and chocolates. They deliver his order quickly enough, and he finally accepts it. Chizuru honey, I need you to wake up. He lightly caresses her hair. He's already taken off her glasses to put them on the side. 5 more minutes, Grandma? She mumbles in her sleep. I'd rather be called Daddy, but whatever. Come on, you can go back to sleep after you drink this. She opens her eyes in alarm after realizing that the voice isn't her grandma's and instead it's a man's voice. What the hell are you doing? She abruptly gets up from the bed and looks accusingly at Kazuya, who's confused as hell. Why is it that the moment she gets any energy she wastes it screaming at me? Lie back down. Kazuya pushes her face back into the bed. She isn't able to resist his actions as she's still pretty weak. She still keeps looking at him warily. He shakes his head. It's just orange juice. Look. It's still sealed. I didn't mix anything to it. Sorry. Her apology is as quiet as a mosquito's buzz. What was that? Don't push it. Fine. You're no fun. Here, drink this. She takes the bottle from him and tries to open the cap. Let alone open the sealed bottle, she doesn't even have the strength to lift the bottle. He extends his hand to her, waiting for her to give him the bottle. She ignores his help and keeps trying for a while until he takes it back from her himself. How stubborn is this chick? He opens the bottle and brings one of his hands to the back of Chizuru's head, who's surprisingly quiet this time. Here, slowly. He gently lifts her head a little and brings the mouth of the bottle to her lips. She takes light sips as he tries to be as gentle as possible with her. In about 5 minutes filled with silent breaks, she finishes the bottle of juice. You have a pretty high fever. So ordered a few cold towels to get your temperature down. You can take a nap if you want. You don't need to do so much. I can take care of myself. I know, Chizuru. I know that you're unbelievably strong. But it's never bad to accept help sometimes. Especially when it's me. I'm a weird dude when it comes to that kind of stuff. The more you resist me, the more I'm going to push back. So just take whatever I do without too many unnecessary thoughts. Chizuru doesn't reply anymore as she closes her eyes. Kazuya spends the next half hour taking care of Chizuru, who fell back to sleep after 2 minutes of Kazuya putting a cold towel on her head. That's when he got a call. Mami, huh? Let's see what she wants. He answers the call after going away from the bed to not disturb Chizuru. Hey, Kazu-kun? What's up, Mami? Are you free to talk right now? He glances over at the sleeping Chizuru. She'll be fine. Kinda, yeah? I'd like to talk to you for a bit. If it's alright. Can we meet? Like right now? Can you wait for like 5 minutes? Sure, Kazu-kun. I'll wait. I'll wait for as long as it takes. Damn this devilish temptress. Where do you want to meet? The pool. I'm at the hotel pool right now. I'm here by myself. I'm waiting. Okay, Mami toned down the drama a little. It's getting creepy. I'll be there in 5 minutes. After he hangs up the call, he looks over at Chizuru once again. I'll leave her a note and some chocolates to eat if she wants to. He wrote her a note that said that she was free to order some room service if she wants. It's kinda his fault that she's in this state, to begin with. So he agreed that it would be his treat. Might as well make it a lovey-dovey note. Kazuya, love, Chizuru. He snickers and leaves the note at the bedside, expecting her to throw another tantrum at this. It's so much fun to rile her up like that. He gives her a gentle look and moves away from the bed. Taking the keycard, he lightly closes the door and locks it, only to be opened from the inside. He then leaves to go to the pool. Chapter 15, Mami's Ploy, 1/2. Kazuya enters the floor with the swimming pool and sees the entire place completely deserted. Damn. How much clout does this girl have? She emptied the entire pool area in the middle of the day. I guess she wasn't kidding about waiting by herself. He notices the cute blonde with pink highlights leaning at the side of the pool, still wearing her American flag bikini with a yellow tube around her waist. If she was Sonic, that ring would just about disappear. He chuckles inwardly as he thinks about a parody of one of his retro games. Is the pool that deep? Or is she just that short? I doubt she need a tube to stay up in such shallow water. He sneakily makes his way to Mami, who hasn't noticed his presence. As he sneaks up behind her slowly with light steps, suddenly she turns around. Hey, Kazuya! She waves at him. Hi, Mami. It's not so easy to sneak up on me like that, Kazuya. I've trained my senses to not let anyone sneak up on me. She speaks in her usual cheery tone. Okay, there's a story there, for sure. Probably a dark one. Come on in, Kazuya. Join me in the water. She splashed a little water around her and said in her usual cheery voice. What's her game here? He looks at Mami impassively for a few seconds but shrugs his shoulders. I'll be there, Mami. He looks around discreetly to see if there are any recording devices in the place. He noticed that Mami's phone was kept on a beach chair along with Mami's jacket at an angle that its camera was pointing toward the pool. Really, Mami? I expected better from you. You should have at least picked a place with security cameras. I already locked the door from the inside. Worst case, I'll run out the window. Thankfully the pool is on the ground floor. It wouldn't kill me to do that. He takes off the t-shirt that he'd put on while taking care of Chizuru and throws it at the same beach chair as Mami's phone. Throwing it there, he jumps into the pool with a cannonball. I don't trust her to not record me for leverage, so let's not risk it. Her t-shirt accurately falls on the phone, covering it completely. I'll fucking show you. With a big splash of water all around, he comes out of the water to see a drenched Mami looking at him with a pouting face. Kazuya, you got me all wet. Word choice, girl. He runs both his hands through his hair to pull them back and looks at Mami with a smile. So, you wanted to talk to me about something, Mami? She swims closer to him until only the tube surrounding her waist separates them both. Can you help me out of this tube, Kazuya? She extends her arms up. So tempting. It would be a shame to not fall into your clutches. I guess she loves playing the cutesy damsel act. He plays along with her and pulls up the tube from her torso. He throws it to the side and Mami brings her hands back down and rests them on his shoulders. Now that she's found out that I've essentially moved on, let's see what she does. He's amused and interested in Mami's actions. After all, no matter how manipulative, she's sexy as fuck. I should stop thinking with my dick. This kind of pussy chasing will be the death of me. Although he thinks such thoughts, his actions don't change. The girl I like is fucking sleeping in my room and here I am, trying to get some. I don't know what's wrong with me. You know what? Fuck Mami. I was planning to make her my girl, but she'd do better as my bitch. I'm not letting go of such a sexy piece of ass, but there's no way in hell that I'll let her ruin whatever I've got going on with Chizuru. I need some time to think. After this beach thing though, Mami's proximity to him brings him back. He slips his hands onto Mami's waist under the water. She pulls herself close to him and starts speaking. You know, Kazuya, I can't stop thinking about our kiss from before. Is that so, Mami? He listens to her while lightly running his fingers up and down her bare waist underwater, making her squirm a little under his touch. It was so much different from before. It was like you're a whole different person. She looks into his eyes with almost no distance between them. I guess that your leaving me affected me more than I thought. It changed me. Literally. Well, honestly, I like your change a lot. It's as if you're so much more confident now. You finally took charge instead of being passive like before. It made me feel wanted. Didn't you already find someone else to replace me though? I think that he dash. His expression was mocking her, and as if unwilling to hear more, she interrupted him. It's not like that. It's not. I agree that I told you that I was in a relationship, but that was a lie. At least partly a lie. Someone did ask me out. And I did accept, but that's it. We didn't even go on a date. She seems to be a little agitated and explains her relationship with the guy hurriedly. Why did you even accept it? And you even broke up with me over that. Although his words seemed accusatory, his actions were the complete opposite. She had her arms crossed around his neck and his hands were holding her lower back. They were completely sticking to each other with no distance between them. All Kazuya had to do was to tilt his head and they'd be kissing. He could feel her modest breasts pressing on his chest. She was looking away from him with a guilty look. Mami, look at me. She slowly turned her blushing face toward him. Answer me. His voice is gentle but firm. I made a mistake, Kazuya. You were always so passive. So jumpy. I felt that you didn't like me. I felt like you were forcing yourself to be with me. You always had this expression as if you were in agony. I couldn't take it anymore. So, I decided to break up with you first so that I wouldn't get hurt. Damn. Leave it to this guy to be so shit of a human that your expression of determination seems like you're in great agony. He doesn't forget to criticize the original in his heart, since the guy was just that disgusting of a person. He was the typical twisted good guy that expected a girl to like him just because he was a so-called nice guy. I guess we both made mistakes, huh, Mami? You ended up breaking up with me because of my previous actions, and now I'm in a relationship with another girl. Although his words were meant to push her away, his tone was slightly regretful and his actions conveyed the exact opposite thoughts. He tightens his hold on her waist and leans down. Mami doesn't say anything but just closes her eyes and gets up on her toes to meet Kazuya halfway. When their lips finally touch, Mami feels a jolt of electricity run through her. What's going on? She doesn't get much time to think as Kazuya holds onto her lower back with one hand and brings the other to the side of her head, running his fingers through her silky hair. He tilts her head to the perfect angle for him to kiss as he feels her up. Mami was far too occupied with the unexpected pleasure that the kiss brought her, to notice his hand going down to cup her ass. It didn't feel this good before. She thinks with her hazy mind as she feels that she wants more. She sneaks her tongue through her mouth, which Kazuya realizes, and brings his tongue into her mouth to start a battle of tongues. A battle that Mami was thoroughly losing. He expertly keeps kissing her while violating her mouth, pausing at certain intervals to let Mami and himself take a breath. They keep going for minutes as Mami starts grinding on him a little. Understanding her intention, he brings both his hands to her soft, milky thighs and pulls them up a bit, allowing her to wrap her legs around him. While she's wrapped around him like a koala, he cups her ass and squeezes it. "Ah," she moans into his mouth. They continue their saliva exchange for a little longer as Kazuya gets a little idea to make the makeout even more fun and exciting. He keeps kissing her as he walks a little further into the pool, toward the deeper end. Mami can feel that the water level is rising as it gets above her shoulders and reaches her neck, but she doesn't have the mind to react to it. She was too occupied with the amazing feeling of pleasure that she was getting from the kiss. She could even feel his bulge touching her core and ground herself a little on him, teasing him like the seductress that she is. Kazuya walks until he feels the water level is only a little bit above his and Mami's shoulders. He stops. Thankfully Mami was wrapped around him, or she would be submerged up to her head by now. He brings one of his hands that were on her ass back to her head, and holds the back of her neck so that she doesn't suddenly pull back from him. His other hand is still cupping her ass. After making sure that their lips were locked correctly, he tightens his hold on the back of her head, and suddenly bends his knees, submerging them both in the water. Chapter 16. Mami's Ploy 2 of 2. After making sure that their lips were locked correctly, he tightens his hold on the back of her head, and suddenly bends his knees, submerging them both in the water. Mami panics a little and tries to pull back from him to get back up to the surface, but his hold on her neck is stopping her from doing anything but passively accepting his actions. She opens her eyes to look at him, and notices his calm eyes looking at her soothingly. It was a bit unclear due to the water, but they could see each other sufficiently for the feelings to be conveyed. That seems to calm her down as she melts back into the kiss. She can feel him slowly passing some air to her through the kiss, which gives her a strange kind of pleasure that she enjoys even more. When it got too much for the both of them, Kazuya pulled them both up. As he let go of his hand from behind Mami's head, she recoils a little and coughs due to the water that went into her nasal tracts due to her panic. Kazuya gives her a few seconds of respite while holding her tenderly, her arms and legs still wrapped around him. She was still coughing lightly, but Kazuya's patience was only till here. He again pushes his lips against hers and continues their passionate makeout session. They spent the next hour like that, without even a sliver of distance between them. They made out underwater a few more times, and Mami got better at it after the first time and was able to reciprocate his actions even underwater. Kazuya completely dominated Mami's thoughts and body with his intense actions. Especially in the underwater makeout, he made sure that Mami was completely dependent on him for even her air supply. He was planning to take advantage of these feelings of dependency that will slowly but surely grow within Mami. He wasn't planning to let her go and wanted her to belong to him, not as his girlfriend but as his object. All he felt for Mami was possessiveness, and he was going to act on those feelings. They only stopped when Kazuya's phone started ringing. Ha 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 ha! Their deep breaths were mirrored as they stared into each other's eyes. You should take that call. I should take that call. They both say the same thing as they look at each other before Mami giggles while Kazuya smiled gently. She unwrapped her legs from around his waist and stopped acting like a koala while he stepped back a little to let her stabilize herself. He then swims to the edge of the pool and gets out. Kazuya, have you been working out? Mami, who's looking at his back while he got out of the pool, notices the slightly defined muscles of his back. He just smirks at her and walks to the pool chair where he threw his shirt and picks up a towel there. Wiping himself, he picks up his phone that he'd left on the floor before jumping into the pool. Mami just keeps admiring his now slightly defined physique. Feels good to be appreciated for your hard work. He looks at the phone and finds a missed call from Kaib along with a text. Yo, where you at, dude? Your girl's phone has been ringing twice. It seems to be important. Where are you? I'll come and get it from you, Kazuya replied to Kaib. He turns to see Mami and notices that she's also out of the pool and was wiping her hair while standing near the pool chair. He notices her lifeless eyes that were staring blankly at her phone and smirks, so she did plan on using it as leverage. Too bad for her, I guess. I at the very least thoroughly enjoyed myself. As noticing Kazuya's gaze, she instantly turns back into her cheery self and looks at Kazuya with a blushing smile while wiping her bikini-clad body. Kazuya walks to her to pick up his t-shirt. There are no words exchanged between them. There's a sort of tacit understanding that what just happened wasn't going to be continued. At least that's what Mami thought. Kazuya was still in a relationship. Mami was also still in a sort of nominal relationship. Mami attempted to get leverage over him, which she failed at badly. At this point, Kazuya is just going to let her be. If she does something else, then he would deal with it accordingly. Those lips though. I could kiss her like that for a whole day without getting bored or tired. I'll be keeping some distance from her for a while. At least until I make some concrete plans to deal with her. Let her stir in these feelings for a while. He leaves without saying a word to Mami, who also doesn't call out to him. Although she does look at him with a longing expression that she doesn't even realize she has. Kazuya's plan to create feelings of dependency within her has already worked a little. Mami's feelings were also pretty conflicted at this moment in time. It was as if after their breakup, everything Kazuya did completely went off the rails. She didn't feel in control of the situation at all, especially when she was with him. He just takes command of the situation so naturally that it astounds her sometimes. Did someone replace him or something? No one experiences such a radical change in their personality so quickly. And that kiss. She genuinely blushes thinking about her actions with him. The guy who used to do nothing but freeze at the notion of a kiss was taking so much initiative today. She puts her hands over her face. What kind of godly practice made him get so good, so quickly? Although he was good back then at the beach too, this time he was just far better. I want more. No, Mami! She reprimands herself for even having that thought. She was planning to get leverage by recording her actions with him. Although the tiny kiss she was planning escalated to extreme proportions, she was still glad that it all got recorded. As she was humming inwardly, knowing that she would finally be getting her toy back under control, she sees her phone covered by Kazuya's t-shirt that he'd randomly thrown to the side and froze. How lucky do you get? No. It wasn't just dumb luck. He played me. After Kazuya went away, she looked through the recording only to see nothing but black for an hour and turns off her phone with a frigid look on her face. Even the audio was muffled to the point of being unintelligible. The fuck kind of t-shirt was that? Mami is miffed at being bested by Kazuya. She takes a seat on the pool bench with her arms wrapped around her legs and rests her chin on her knees. Damn it, Kazuya. Kazuya checks his phone to see if Kaib replied yet. My room. Good enough. Kazuya makes his way to the room that Kaib got. He was bunking with Kuri, so it was on another side of the hotel since they had different kinds of rooms for different guests. Kazuya had gotten what would be considered a couple's room, which had a single large bed for 2 people. Kaib, on the other hand, got a bunking room that had 2 single beds. On the way, he checked his system to see if something was going on. He felt that this time the kiss with Mami was weirdly different. It was as if he'd known everything about the kiss perfectly. He was a good kisser, no doubt, but that was a whole different level. He could even feel that Mami's reactions were much more vivid. Quests. Quests. Main quest, entrepreneur. Side quest, no lonely bitches here. Side quest, get that girl. Side quest, she belongs on the streets. Side quest, income source. Daily quest, shape up. Daily quest, learn to defend. Completed quests. Hidden quest, the lion, the... That's an outdated as fuck reference. He thinks as he focuses on the hidden quest that's under the completed section of the quests tab. Hidden quest, the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch, completed. Your ex-girlfriend is a manipulative bitch who is out to control all aspects of your life. Show her who's boss and knock her down a peg or two. Objective, one-up Mami Nanami's manipulation attempts, 3/3 times and make her feel that she lost to you. Rewards, kissing mastery skill. 3 times already? Kazuya is a little surprised that he's already beaten Mami's manipulation attempts 3 times and thoroughly enough to make her feel like she lost to him. First should have been the pub where I told her off when she tried to destroy my self-esteem. The second was probably the time on the beach when we kissed. She was probably planning a different outcome but ended up failing. The third was now with the recording at the pool. Kazuya feels proud of himself and does a little dance in the corridor while walking toward Kai's room. A few people glance in his direction but he doesn't care. I can collapse this completed quests column. Nice. Quests. Main quest, entrepreneur. Side quest, no lonely bitches here. Side quest, get that girl. Side quest, she belongs on the streets. Side quest, income source. Daily quest, shape up. Daily quest, learn to defend. Completed quests. This, kissing mastery, seems to me a different kind of skill from my usual leveling skills. Skills. He summons the skill panel. Skills. Mastery level skills, kissing. Programming LVL 24. Cooking LVL 9. Mixed martial arts LVL 3. Business administration LVL 1. Yeah, there's a separate panel for the skills that I've mastered. Does this mean that I'm the best kisser in the world? Or is there a level further beyond? Is it possible to get the leveling skills to the master level? Kazuya has many questions running through his head but no one to answer them as he buries them inside his mind for later. He already has a few ideas about the skills. Master level should be a basic threshold of levels for the skills where I've got all the theoretical knowledge for the skill. Now I only need experience. The more I utilize my master level skills the better they'll get. I'll guess there may be a peak master or grandmaster level beyond the master level to add the experience aspect. That's the best conjecture that Kazuya could come up with as he looked through the information on kissing in his mind. I wish I had eidetic memory. Currently, all my skills are based on the system's database. I only perfectly remember skills that have been registered with the system. All of my other skills need me to get them registered into the system's database. That's where the problem lies. I have to repeatedly perform a skill to get it recognized by the system, and that's a pain. He got rid of his stray thoughts about the system as he arrived in front of Kai's room. Yo Kai, open up. It's me. Chapter 17, The Temporary Girlfriend, January 5th. Yo Kai, open up. It's me. Kazuya knocks on the door. The door opens with a click and Kai greets him before noticing Kazuya's disheveled look. You're here. He trails off for a few seconds before abruptly pulling Kazuya into the room. The fuck, dude? Kazuya doesn't resist and lets Kai pull him into the room. Oh hey, Curry. Kazuya notices Curry using his phone. He just silently waves his arm at Kazuya. Kai looks at him. What were you doing? Fuck kind of question is that? I was with my girlfriend. I taking care of her. You sure? You didn't do anything to her while she was asleep. You told me she's not feeling well. What's wrong with you? Of course I didn't. What kind of pervert do you take me for? A desperate one. Kazuya almost loses his footing hearing Kai's words. Just give me her damn bag and phone. Kazuya extends his hand. Yeah. Kai walks off and brings Chizura's bag along with 2 pieces of paper. Here's her bag. Also, I got you 2 tickets for the ferry. Have some fun. Kai hands them the papers. My man, I appreciate the gesture but she's sick right now, and going to the ferry doesn't seem like the best option for her, at least not today. Check the damn date. I remembered that you told me that she's not feeling well. So, I got them for tomorrow's ferry. Man, I love you. Kazuya gets all mushy and starts trying to hug Kai, who got freaked out by his friend's sudden change. No, stop it. Stay away. I'm not into men. Kai tries to push Kazuya away but fails and gets enveloped in a bro hug for 2 seconds. Me either. Kazuya smirks. Did you start working out or something? Something like that. Alright, I'll leave. You said her phone's been ringing. Kazuya turns around and walks out of the room. Back in his room, Kazuya sees Chizuru still asleep and the chocolates having been eaten. Chizuru was sleeping in a very uncomfortable looking posture, looking like she fell asleep after trying to get up. Kazuya instantly understands that she was trying to get up and go back to her room but didn't have the energy, and just fell back to sleep while trying to get up. Such a troublesome girl. But I must say, I prefer her over Mami's manipulation any day of the week. He walks over to her and gently fixes her posture while draping the blanket over her again. I hope I don't get sick. I did end up kissing her back then during the Pocky game. Then again, that kiss was worth it. He looks at Chizuru's bag and hesitates. Should I open it? She's weirdly iron-hard about this stuff. I don't want to agitate her. Forget it, I'll order soup for her. He goes over to the room phone and dials room service. 20 minutes later they finally deliver the soup and Kazuya accepts it at his door. Hey, Chizuru. Wake up. Putting the soup on the table at the side, he caresses her silky hair which is still tied up in braids. This feels like deja vu. Chizuru stretches a little and the blanket gets pulled away from her chest. Like any simple man, he is mesmerized by Chizuru's boobs that were momentarily emphasized due to her actions. When she opens her eyes, she notices him staring at her boobs. What the hell, pervert? She panics and hurriedly reaches for the blanket to cover herself. I am being wrongfully accused here. It was nothing more than admiration for the opposite sex. Kazuya realizes that his actions were noticed by Chizuru. Yeah, right. She snorts, which sounds more like she's blowing her nose. She gets embarrassed by the sound and looks away, burying her face in the blanket. I got you soup. Kazuya points to the bowl that was placed on the table at the side. Thank you. Should I feed it to you? Don't push it. Ha. Yeah, you're better. All you needed was some love and care. He gives her a gentle look as he hands her the tray with the soup bowl. She takes the tray and starts taking light sips of the soup. This is good. She looked at him with gratitude. If you're that thankful, do you want to go to the ferry with me? In this state? Do you want me to fall off the boat just so that you can catch me and kiss me with the excuse of CPR? She gave him an accusatory look. Lies. I do not need such elaborate plans to kiss you, my charisma is enough. Narcissistic much. She snorts at Kazuya's words. The ferry is for tomorrow. And that's if you're better. If you're not, we'll skip it. Plus there won't be anyone we know there. You won't have to disguise yourself. Okay. He smiles at her agreement as he opens the room's curtains, revealing the beautiful beachside view of the sunset. The sun seemed to be melting into the sea on the horizon. Beautiful, no? Kazuya comments with a smile. Receiving no answer, he turns to look at Chizuru with an inquisitive look. Her hand is halfway above the bowl of soup with the spoon filled, and she seems mesmerized by the view of the sunset for a few seconds before she comes back to her senses. I'm sorry. What did you say? She asks him. Beautiful, no? This time he's looking into her eyes while saying it. It is. She doesn't say anything more and keeps drinking the soup. Oh yeah. Your phone was ringing. I asked Kai to keep your handbag with him. He told me that your phone rang twice. Can you hand me my bag, please? She's a little hurried. Here. Leaving the half-eaten soup as she rummages through her bag and brings out her phone. It was my grandma. I have to call her back. She gives Kazuya a look. Fine. Although it's my room. But whatever. He walks out of the room. Thank you. She looks at him with gratitude before calling back her grandma. You done with the talk with your grandma? Kazuya goes back into the room after a few minutes. Yeah. The empty bowl of soup was placed at the bedside and Chizuru was looking at the sky with the sun already set, and only the orange glow of light left. Kazuya notices Chizuru's look, which seems to be deep in thought, and says, You want to take a walk at the beach? You never got to wear your bikini to the beach. It's summer, I doubt you'll be cold. You just want to look at my body. I'll admit. I have those intentions when I say that. But I'm man enough to say that I want to appreciate your sexy body. She rolls her eyes and looks to the side. Fine. I'll go with you. I'm feeling well enough and you are technically my boyfriend. She gives him a beautiful smile. Girl. He cheers her on as she gets out of bed and walks to the bathroom with her bag. No peeking. She slams the bathroom door and locks it. You didn't have to say that if you were going to lock the door. He mumbles under his breath as he grabs a jacket, just in case, and waits for Chizuru Mizuhara to come out. He hears his phone ringing and notices that it's his grandma. She called him to tell him that she was getting discharged from the hospital, and that he should come to see her when he gets the time. He talked to her for a few minutes before hanging up. Maybe it's because I didn't inherit many feelings from the original, but his so-called loving grandma seems to be pretty condescending to him. What's with all the girlfriend talk, dude? It's annoying. Then again, he wasn't a model grandson now, was he? Forget it, doesn't matter. Let's just enjoy my time with my girl. He didn't realize, but he was already referring to Chizuru as his girl within his mind. Within minutes, Kazuya hears the click sound of the lock and looks up from his phone, and is left completely bewitched by what he sees. Chizuru is standing in front of the bathroom in front of him with her hair left loose from her braids and wearing her pink bikini. There was a knot at the side of her bikini bottoms, holding them together, which made Kazuya want to pull on that knot. Wouldn't that be fun? He stands up and walks close to her with his phone in his pocket and his jacket in hand. Tell me if you feel even a little unwell. I'll bring you back to your room. Okay? Sure. Let's go then. He extends his other hand toward her. She naturally grabs his hand and they both walk out of the room. They don't talk much today since they both had a pretty tiring day and just wanted to enjoy each other's company. The beach is pretty deserted with the color of the sky fading from orange to dark. They're both barefoot and walk through the beach hand in hand. Chapter 18. The Temporary Girlfriend, February 5th. The beach is pretty deserted with the color of the sky fading from orange to dark. They're both barefoot and walk through the beach hand in hand. Hey, come on. I have an idea. Kazuya doesn't let her reply as he pulls her toward the edge of the beach. They stand there as they enjoy the view with the waves of the water drenching their feet. It's almost soothing, Chizuru comments. I know. They walk at the edge of the beach for about half an hour before they turn back to go to the hotel. The orange color of the sky has turned dark with the moonlight shining on the beach. Here, wear this. Kazuya doesn't wait for her to say anything and puts the jacket that he was carrying onto her shoulders and closes it halfway up right below her breasts, brushing against them before removing his hand. My hands are stuck. She looks at him deadpan, ignoring his attempt at taking advantage of her. What? Scared that I'll take advantage? He moves ever so slightly closer to her. She snorts. Yeah, right. Chizuru starts fumbling around a little in the jacket after letting go of Kazuya's hand and pulls out her hands from the sleeves. Flexible. He comments from the side as he brings his arm around her waist and pulls her closer while he keeps walking. I should have held her like this before giving her the jacket. He feels immense regret inwardly. Chizuru doesn't react as she doesn't even feel that this kind of physical contact is that big of a deal with Kazuya anymore. Although she's never let a client get closer to her, other than her holding their hand, Kazuya is already someone different in her mind from a client. When they see the hotel, Kazuya stops walking. Chizuru turns to look at him. What is it? He doesn't answer her but turns to face her. Chizuru realizes what he's about to do but doesn't feel averse to the thought of a kiss with him. She freezes up like a deer in headlights while Kazuya grabs both of her hands and gets closer to her. He pulls her arms around his back while grabbing her waist with his. He starts to move in closer to her face slowly until he can feel her hot breaths on his face. She can feel his breath mixing with hers and feels strange goosebumps within her. Her heart is racing as she doesn't know what to do. His lips are close enough to brush against her lips. He's going agonizingly slow so that she doesn't feel that it was abrupt or forced. He looks into her eyes for the last time before closing them and tilting his head and moving in for the kiss. The feeling of her lips that he was expecting never came. Instead, he felt his lips brushing against the soft skin of her cheek. He opened his eyes to see Chizuru with a completely red face looking at the sea on the horizon. The moonlight shines brightly on her face. Damn this tsundere. He'd read a few mangas recently to see how the plot of these fictional worlds went and maybe gleaned some information from them, but all he understood were these terms that categorized different character types. I should go. Chizuru pulls away from him and runs off back to the hotel. How long until she realizes that she's left all her stuff, including her room keycard, in my room? He laughs inwardly as he also makes his way back to the hotel, not planning to waste his time here. A sick girl was waiting for him. I want this rental girlfriend app to make a provision to send the rental girlfriend to your house in a box. All wrapped up like a present. completely mine to deal with as I please. Maybe there's such an app on the dark web. The guy has weirdly horrifying thoughts while he walks back to the hotel and goes to the lift for his room. As he takes a turn in the corridor, he sees Chizuru sitting on the ground, hugging her knees with her chin resting on them. Hearing the sound of his footsteps, she turns to him. "Took you long enough. How is that my fault?" He complains mentally. "You didn't have to run like that, you know. I don't mind you turning away. I understand that I was the one who put in a spot. Whatever. It's been a long day. I want to go back to my room to rest up." Kazuya smiles at her and opens the door to his room. He extends a hand to Chizuru to help her up, but she pushes it away and gets up on her own. How stubborn is this girl? He questions mentally and walks into the room with Chizuru walking behind him. "Hey, how do you feel about being called Iron Lady Mizuhara?" Kazuya questions her while thinking about how she's too stubborn. "Call me that again and forget that you ever had a shot with me," she comments without thinking before stiffening and going to the bathroom to change. At least she's not antisexual. I have a shot with her. Good to know. At this point, he decides that his day is finished and brings out his laptop while putting his phone on silent. He takes a seat on the bed and opens the project that he was working on and decides to get it over with. While he was typing away, Chizuru comes out of the bathroom with her braids back up while wearing her shirt back up with her denim shorts. "You brought your laptop to a college trip. I've been working on a little project and was planning to get it done over the weekend before the beach plans sprung up. I'd already committed to the project, so this was the only option." "I see." Chizuru is curious about what he's doing but doesn't want to pry into his business too much since she doesn't want to bother him. She'd certainly be bothered if someone kept asking her about her rental thing. "Well, I'll be leaving." Chizuru wasn't sure what she was expecting from Kazuya, but she ended up trailing off with her words. "All right." He puts his laptop to the side and gets off the bed. He walks to her and takes her bag from her while grabbing the keycard to his room. "Come on." Seeing Chizuru standing there, he urged her. "Sorry," she said as he grabbed her hand and started walking after he closed the door to his room. "What's your room number? Why do you ask?" She looks at him defensively. "Geez, girl, I'm not going to break into your room in the middle of the night. You were waiting for me to take you to your room and now I'm doing it. What do you want from me?" He didn't realize it, but he was a bit irritable due to having to stop working and also having been blue-balled for the entire day. Chizuru hears his tone and feels that he's annoyed due to her presence, so she pulls her hand away from him. "I'll go to my room myself. You don't have to bother yourself." What the hell? Then why did she act like she wanted me to take her? He doesn't think much about it and just keeps following her. "Why are you following me?" "I want to stare at your ass," he thoughtlessly answers. "You can just go back to your room." She turns around and looks at him. "I want to take you to your room though." "Do you? Really?" He smiles and answers. "Why would I not? I spent the day taking care of you. You think I'd get annoyed by the act of taking you to your room?" She realizes that he'd indeed spent so much time taking care of her, and is silent for a few seconds. 7:18. She doesn't know what to say other than tell him her room number. "See, that was easy, wasn't it? Also, you're 2 rooms away from Kai. If he tries to talk to you, don't let him." He gives her a serious look. Hee hee. "It's fine, I'm bunking with my friend." "I expected as much. Why did you take a separate room though? It would have been cheaper to just bunk with someone, no? If I did that, how would I feel comfortable leaving you in my room, asleep and defenseless? And the real reason?" She crosses her arms. "That is the real reason." She keeps staring at him. "Money isn't that big of a deal for me. I put my comfort above money." Kazuya shrugs his shoulders as if he's some rich family's scion. If Chizuru had seen the state of his cheaply furnished apartment, she'd laugh in his face. He can't be blamed for this mindset though. He was used to living extravagantly in his old life. Very different from an average college student. He was a very good programmer, and was very good in many fields. He'd easily get projects done within a weekend that would pay him tens of thousands of dollars. His scholarship was enough that he never had to take any student loans, which only made him more extravagant. "Sounds nice." Chizuru trails off with her words as they arrive in front of her room and she opens the door. "Be ready for the ferry tomorrow. It's at noon. I want you ready and in your natural clothes. I don't want you to look like your nerdy self, and neither do I want you to look like the perfect girlfriend. I want Chizuru chinos. Will you do that for me?" His earnest look and expression stunned her for a few seconds before she smiled beautifully. Sure, Kazuya. She got on her tiptoes and gave him a little kiss on the cheek. This is your reward for taking care of me for the whole day. With that, she abruptly closed the door in his face. Kazuya is left stunned before he chuckles. God, she's cute. He walked back to his room with his hands behind his head, ready to get back to work. Chapter 19. The Temporary Girlfriend, March 5th. Meanwhile, Chizuru, with her heart pounding and her hand on her chest, slowly slid down the door of her room and sat on the ground. Stupid. It was unknown if she was calling herself stupid or Kazuya. She looks up to see the smirking face of Saki, her friend that she was bunking with. Her other friend Shinbo was bunking with Imai. Your day seems to have been fun after you disappeared from the group. She teases Chizuru. Chizuru gets back to her senses and brings back her Iron Lady demeanor. One more word and you'll wake up tomorrow with a stab wound. She gives a chilling look to Saki. Yes, sure, Iron Lady, but that's a bet I'm willing to make for the details. Tell me everything. Saki sat cross-legged as she looked at Chizuru anticipatorily. Chizuru sighed at her friend's antics. Saki had been Chizuru's friend since high school. Although she didn't know much about her personal life since Mizuhara kept such a tight lid on it, she knew enough about her personality to get through her defense. Chizuru knew which battles to fight and which do not. And she knew her friend enough that she'd keep pestering her until the next day if she didn't give her some details to satisfy her virgin mind. Fine. But let me change up into comfortable clothes first. She goes into the bathroom and changes into her pajamas. When she comes out, she sees her friend with the same eager look and sighed inwardly again, thinking that she wasn't getting out of this. Scoot over. She takes a seat on the bed. Tell me, girl, I'm dying here. We didn't do much. I wasn't feeling well and ended up falling because I didn't have any strength. He caught me and brought me to his room where he took care of me until I fell asleep. What kind of care? Did he change your clothes? Did he feed you soup mouth to mouth? Details, girl. EW no. What kind of weird erotica have you been reading? He just gave me juice and helped bring down my temperature with a cold towel on my head until I fell asleep. Boo. Continue. When I woke up, I saw some chocolates on the nightstand with a note that said he'd gone out. I ate them and fell asleep again. Then he woke me up and gave me some soup. Did he feed it to you? Saki had sparkles in her eyes that made Chizuru roll her eyes. No, I ate it myself. I had recovered enough by then. Then we just took a little walk on the beach before he walked by to the room. Chizuru is nonchalant. Chizuru had skipped some details because she was embarrassed to tell them to her friend, like the kiss and the Princess Carrie, but what she heard was enough for her friend. Damn, but don't you think that he's too much of a pussy to not even try to kiss you after so much? In the end, you had to kiss him. Pussy. She calls him a pussy 2 times. It's not like that. Chizuru reflexively defends Kazuya because she didn't like hearing that, but realizes the implications a second later and shuts up. Seeing the situation, her friend realizes that Chizuru didn't tell the whole story and starts pestering her. After the walk on the beach, he made this whole perfect moment for us to kiss under the moonlight. We were close to the sea, so the water was occasionally submerging our feet. It was soothing. But when he finally tried to kiss me, I turned my head away. Damn, that guy turned out to be a nice guy, but it was you that was so defensive. It's fine. At least you kissed him at the end, so you didn't completely blow it. Did you guys make any plans for tomorrow? Yeah, we'll go to the ferry. Really? Amazing. How did he even get the tickets? They completely were booked for the weekend since last week. Her friend jumps up and holds Chizuru's shoulders. Seems like he put a lot of thought into it. Chizuru says, thinking about how long Kazuya had been planning on taking someone on this ferry. Little did Chizuru know that it was Kaib who had bought those tickets for himself if he found a girl. But the poor guy ended up giving them to Kazuya since he didn't have anyone to take with him. He'd even bought 2 each for both days so that there wouldn't be any problems with the timing. Kazuya spent some time working on his project for a while and finished it by 11. I've been blue-balled enough today. I need to relieve myself. He decided to go out to the hotel's bar to see if he could pick someone up for a one-night fling. The bar was a quiet enough place since it was a hotel and it was pretty late, but it had a nice ambience. There were a few people there, but there weren't any girls. At least no single girls. The ones that he saw were all with their significant other. Finally, he noticed a lone girl sitting at the bar slowly drinking while lost in thought. Puffy eyes, red nose. This girl has been crying. Where are my condoms? He pats his pockets before remembering that he left them in his room. He inwardly chuckles at the reference before he starts walking. He decided to walk up to that girl to strike up a conversation. Hi. Do you mind if I take a seat? The girl doesn't even turn to face him and says, Be my guest. She's too drunk to pay too much attention to the situation. What do you have? It's on me. The girl finally turns to look at him, but her words make him want to strangle himself. She said to him with a slurred voice, Why is your hair orange? You look weird. She was clearly very drunk and didn't have any sort of filter. She then turned back to her drink as the bartender gave him a pity-filled look. I guess the blame's on me for not getting my hair fixed earlier. He is still cool about the rejection on the outside, but he's about to explode on the inside. I will ruin your fucking life, you beta-cuck bastard. If there was any guilt left over for taking over your body, it's all gone now. Fuck you. Fuck your mother. You deserve to die in that pathetic and miserable way. He mentally stabs Kazuya repeatedly, which was stabbing himself, but he was far too mad to care. Fuck sex. I'm getting my damn hair fixed tonight. He ditches the idea of hitting on the girl again because his entire mood has been ruined by her thoughtless comment. He walks out of the bar and looks up a 24-hour salon with his requirements. It's pretty far, but he's too agitated with his hair color to care and calls a taxi before leaving the hotel. 3 times the fare. Fuck. 2 hours later, he's sitting in the salon with the huge contraption of a dryer covering his head. He had gotten his hair color changed to a deep dark brown with an auburn tint to the color. He was bored, so he was scrolling through his phone and decided to check his system if there was a hidden quest related to the damned orange hair. Hidden quest. Fix the hair. Completed. Your hair looks like shit. Get it fixed. Objective. Get rid of the disgusting orange-brown hair in any way possible. Reward. Specialized hair care knowledge. The system considers that going bald is better than my current hair. Great. Though this hair care knowledge sounds nice. Why didn't I get it yet though? Kazuya mentally wills that he wants to receive the quest rewards. Slowly new information started appearing in his mind related to the intricacies of hair care. It wasn't that he got a skill. He got all the related knowledge when it came to hair care. His first thought was, that bitch. I knew she slacked off and didn't completely remove the previous dye. There wasn't any problem with the dye, but the double layer would make his hair seem less smooth. This knowledge was received through the system database, so there wasn't any chance that he would forget any of it. He could recall whatever he wanted when required. It's fine, there's an easy remedy to fix this coding problem and make my hair seem better than they were before tonight in the hotel room. Although that's only a temporary solution. I need to get back home to completely fix it. He now had perfect knowledge of remedies to make his hair thicker and silkier, and he'd be capitalizing on them completely. I might just be able to transform this shitty body into that of a handsome man even without the genetics for that. Chapter 20. The Temporary Girlfriend, April 5th. The next day Kazuya woke up. Sadly, he wasn't able to find anyone and had to sleep alone with his still blue balls. He wasn't going to masturbate on principle, since that would ruin his motivation to find a girl. What's the time? It was 11. Fuck. I have to get ready. I'm meeting Chizuru at the pier in 50 minutes. He gets out of bed to change his clothes. He slept in for so long since he had spent a lot of time with his hair last night. Thankfully his hair wasn't stiff and hard anymore after his remedy. It had the same consistency as the original's hair. It would last him for the week, but without a permanent fix, his hair would get back to being stiff. He finally gets ready and leaves 10 minutes before the stipulated time since he's a gentleman who didn't want his girl to have to wait for him. He reaches the place in time and has to wait for a few minutes before he hears his name. Kazuya! He turns around and notices Chizuru. She hadn't tied her hair and it was flowing down her shoulders to her waist freely. She was wearing a pink round neck t-shirt that was tucked under the waistband of her sky blue skirt that had a knot at her waist and went down to the middle of her thighs. Unlike the usual times, when she wore some makeup, this time she wasn't wearing any and had come with a natural look. She was wearing sandals that seemed stylish yet comfortable to wear. Somehow her natural casual look seemed much more beautiful to Kazuya right now. She was smiling, but it seemed much more natural than when she was in her girlfriend mode. He looked into her eyes and felt lost in that feeling of freedom that was conveyed by her eyes. He could instantly tell that she wasn't in her usual girlfriend mode or her nerdy mode. In fact, there was no mode right now. She was acting as she wanted and felt refreshing since she could be herself for once. She felt free. Chizuru, you seem to have listened to my words. Kazuya spread his arms, hoping for a hug from Chizuru. She disappoints him such that she only walks up to him and stops at an arm's length away from him. He wasn't gonna be left hanging like that, so he abruptly took a step forward and enveloped her in a hug. Did you think you could keep your distance from me? He whispers into her ear, giving her goosebumps all over. She gave up struggling and hugged him back for a few seconds and pulled back as he let her. You changed your hair. She looks up at his new dark brown hair that looks much better along with a new hairstyle that left his hair shapely but still messy. How is it? Honestly, much better. I know. I don't know what I was thinking with that orange tint in the brown. Right? It was weird. I didn't want to point it out, but it was weird. It wasn't even as if you were doing it to be tacky. Orange doesn't stand out enough to be tacky. Okay babe, hold back on the criticism. I still had that hair for a while. I might end up losing all confidence. Impossible. She smiles at him. The ferry's starting. He looks into her eyes with a small smile. We should get going. Neither of them makes a move until the horn for the last call is blown. Let's go. Kazuya grabs onto Chizuru's hand and makes a run for it. They run through the pier and show the tickets to the checker before they are let into the yacht. Huff. 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 They both take deep breaths as they finally get some air after running so much. Kazuya recovers sooner than Chizuru and brings her a bottle of water. Ha! Thanks. She downs half the bottle before handing it back to Kazuya, who drinks the rest of the water. Ha ha ha. Kazuya sits beside her, and they both start laughing like crazy. Ha ha stop. Ha ha stop laughing. She pats his arm since his laughter is contagious, and she can't stop laughing with him. They spend a good few minutes laughing with each other when they finally stop while Chizuru's hands are on her stomach from all the laughing. That was fun. Kazuya smiles at Chizuru's comment. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You seem to have recovered pretty well since yesterday. Of course, who do you think I am? All I needed was a good night's rest, and I am back to perfect. Easy there on the narcissism, Chizuru. Someone could confuse you with me. Yeah, right. She snorts and gets up from the seat. She extended her hand to him. Come on, I don't want to spend the entire ride in this place. Let's go out. Kazuya grabbed her hand and said, There was a time when I had to beg you to go out with me. Look how the turn dash. He lamented but couldn't finish his reference. You can quote The Office later. For now, let's go. She pulls him out of the waiting area for the passengers. He smiles at her enthusiasm and follows her out. So she can be this enthusiastic about something other than movies. Good to know. The moment they step out, they realize that the wind's pretty strong. It made Chizuru's hair flutter in the wind, and her skirt also waved with the wind. Kazuya was walking with her as she brought him to the railings of the boat. She was enjoying the wind that went through her hair and had a blissful expression on her face. Would the beautiful couple like a photograph? Someone came up to them and asked them. Kazuya noticed that the guy was wearing the uniform of the yacht staff and had a camera in his hand. Sure. Kazuya replied for the both of them and turned around with Chizuru. He brought his hand to her waist and pulled her close as she brought one of her hands to his lower back and the other to his chest. Click. Marvelous. The photographer shows their photo to them. I love this. I'll take it. In fact, Kazuya thinks something. Can you click out photos for the duration of the ferry? I think it'll be a nice memento. He gave Chizuru an inquisitive look to ask if she minded, but she didn't say anything, so he gave the photographer some instructions to not disturb them while clicking the photos. There was a tourist guide that was telling everyone about some of the histories of this beach and its surrounding areas. Kazuya and Chizuru listened to it for a few minutes, but then got bored and moved on. They spent most of their time near the edge of the yacht. At some point, Kazuya decided to sit down with their legs hanging. Just as Chizuru was taking a seat, the boat jerked very quickly, which made her slip on the deck of the boat. When she expected to feel pain at the impact of the deck, all she felt was firm softness. She realized that she was in Kazuya's arms when she opened her eyes. Can't let my girl fall and get hurt, can I? That would ruin our date completely. You really like those cheesy lines, don't you? Although Chizuru played off those cheesy lines, her cheeks were red. Kazuya wasn't sure if it was embarrassment due to the fall or her blushing, but he chose to assume the latter. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He kept his arms around her as he lay down on the deck. Not the most hygienic, but it's fine with such a girl in my arms. He thinks as he feels Chizuru using him as a pillow. Not gonna push me away in embarrassment? Color me surprised. Chizuru didn't reply to his words and just gave his waist a pinch. He doesn't even notice the pinch as he's immersed in the different feelings that he felt from Chizuru's body rubbing against his. He could feel her breasts pressing on his stomach. Her legs intertwined against his. She had her arms crossed over his chest as she put her chin on them. He looked down to see Chizuru's vulnerable-looking expression a few inches away from his own. God, I could kiss her right about now. As Kazuya thinks that, he decides to shoot his shot. What's the worst that could happen? She'll turn her head away again. He tilts his body a little, just so that he could bring himself lower. He puts one hand on the back of Chizuru's head and leans close to her. This time though she doesn't stiffen up and instead takes some initiative. She meets him halfway and as if previously agreed upon they both stop just shy of brushing against each other's lips. Kazuya looks into Chizuru's eyes and understands her consenting feelings. Kazuya slowly closes his eyes and leans forward. Chapter 21, The Temporary Girlfriend, May 5th. Kazuya slowly closes his eyes and leans forward just enough that their lips meet. Both of them feel as if a jolt of electricity passes through them as their lips connected. All Kazuya felt was gentleness and an unknown feeling that was similar to adoration for Chizuru. He held her with such gentleness that made her feel like she was some sort of fragile object being cared for and protected. They kissed for a few seconds before Chizuru pulled back with her face completely red. Even Kazuya's heart was pounding as he reveled in the feeling of her soft lips. So amazing yet so fleeting. That's all he can think about the kiss. The kiss wasn't endlessly passionate as it was with Mami, who invoked the desire to defile. It was gentle and caring, which made Kazuya want to keep her all for himself without letting anyone ever even look at her. Okay, buddy. That's a dangerous thought process. He stopped himself knowing that Chizuru's entire job was related to going on dates with other people. Suddenly he felt a very bad taste in his mouth that overcame the sweet strawberry taste of Chizuru's lip gloss. Yeah. The rental thing is a pain to think about. Chizuru noticed his face going from blissful, to gentle, to protective, through a myriad of expressions before noticing an expression of possession along with irritation before his eyes turned back to her. He pushes all those thoughts away and looks back at Chizuru. She doesn't ask about his inner dilemma and looks at him with a small but happy smile on her face. I'm glad that you didn't turn your face away this time. He smiles. She blushes and buries her face into his chest. Cute. They have some more fun around the ferry ride for the next hour as they enjoy their time together. Finally, Kazuya gets the soft copies from the photographer, who is giving the two of them a knowing smirk. Chizuru blushes at the implication, while Kazuya gives the guy a smirk, while giving him some extra money since there were amazing pictures of his and Chizuru's first real kiss. He was planning to tease Chizuru with them later. When the ferry's finally done, Kazuya separates from Chizuru since she wasn't going back to her room. She needed to get her disguise back on before she went back. Kazuya reluctantly accepts her words as they part ways at the pier. Couldn't even let me get a goodbye kiss. Kazuya is sad as he walks back to his room with his shoulders slumped dramatically. The trip went by uneventfully after that. Everyone left that afternoon after Kazuya and Chizuru got back from their cruise. Kazuya didn't get a chance to talk to Chizuru since she was going back with her friends, while Mami avoided him as if not sure how to face him after her experience at the pool. She's probably gonna start investigating Chizuru after this. I should pay attention to her actions. When Kazuya finally got back home, he got a text from Chizuru. Did she hear the sound of my door? Can we talk? Okay, this isn't ominous at all. Same place as last time? Yeah. I'll get the whiskey. No. No whiskey. Just you. Great, she's having second thoughts. I am too tired to deal with this right now. He sighs and drops his bag on the floor. Kazuya walked to the balcony and noticed Chizuru already there. He doesn't say anything but just jumps over to her side of the balcony. Hey, girlfriend. He smiled at her. Hi. She trails off, as if she doesn't know what to do. You wanted to talk to me about something. Kazuya wants to go to sleep, so he wants to finish the major conversation soon so that he could try to have a more romantic time with his girlfriend. Yeah, I wanted to ask you something. Sure, lay it on me. How do you feel about me being a rental girlfriend? What brought this on? Just curious. She averts her eyes. Well, won't lie to you. I'm not very comfortable with you going out on dates with other guys. I feel annoyed when you go on a romantic date with another guy when you're my girlfriend. But it's not that big dash. I guess it's a good thing that we aren't truly together. It was just a provisional thing that we had going on. I enjoy what I do, and I'm not going to stop. It's very crucial to my career and for me. She isn't facing him and is looking into the distance. What if you succeed? What do you mean? I mean, what if you become famous? What if you become an actress and get accepted by a good acting agency? Will you continue your current job? I haven't thought that far yet. She gets a guilty expression on her face. Forget it. I'm tired. If you don't want to be with me, I can't do anything about it. I could say that I'll help you complete your dream to become an actress or that I'll take you to Hollywood. Chizuru is silent and is waiting for him to finish. But I know that it's not gonna change your mind. Far from it really. It'll just make you grow to hate me for trying to control you. She agreed with his words. So how about we just stay friends, actual friends? Not the kind that says that for the sake of saying that. What do you say? He asks her with a sad smile. I'd like that. She looks at him with a sad smile that mirrored his own. Okay then. I'm tired and feel like shit. I'm gonna go to sleep. He walks into Chizuru's apartment from her balcony and leaves through her main door. Chizuru stares at his back confusedly. If he did this now, why couldn't he have done this the last time? This is good. It's better this way. Chizuru has her reasons for what she did. I can't. Not you too. Her thoughts are cryptic as she trails off and hugs her pillow to sleep, not realizing that her pillow is slowly growing wet. Well, I feel like shit. Although he played it off casually, he was feeling like shit on the inside. Where's Mami when you need her? To him, fucking with Mami was the perfect distraction for this kind of situation. They didn't even need to have sex. Her cute manipulation attempts that clearly show that she's got some sort of feelings toward him were enough. Yo system, you got something to help me soothe my battered soul. As he expected, there was no response from the lifeless system. It's at times like this that I feel like my troublesome girl fetish bites me in the ass. Why can't I just choose one of the average ones who aren't so much trouble? A voice in his mind told him that he'd be bored out of his mind with them. At least, I wouldn't end up feeling like this at times. He counters the voice. I don't know what kind of shit is making her close herself off like this. It's not that damn rental thing, that's for sure. He doesn't have the energy to overthink much since he's tired as fuck. In his apartment, he turns off all the lights and lies down on his bed with only the glow of the moon through the curtains illuminating the place. He doesn't realize when, but he ends up falling asleep. The next day, when Kazuya wakes up, he isn't bothered by the previous night's events. He just gets up and makes himself some breakfast before going to the gym. After he got back, he dived himself into his freelancing work. It was a weekday, so he also had his MMA class in the evening. He spent the rest of the summer uneventfully while maintaining his routine of gym, work, and then martial arts class. This sort of grind had a whole lot of use for him. With so much time on his hands, he was already halfway done with the income quest that would get him more specialized knowledge. The summer break wasn't that long, but it was 2 weeks of completely free time which helped him get a lot done. By the end of the summer, his stats looked like this. Chapter 22, Back to College and Weekend Plans *. The first week of the new semester of college was mostly uneventful for Kazuya. He ran into Chizuru a few times and they greeted each other, but that was it. There was no more interaction between them. He could tell that Chizuru was keeping their thing under wraps and wasn't confirming or denying anything with her friends, who were pretty curious about their relationship. He was curious about the situation but didn't plan to interfere. He knew that if she was keeping things ambiguous, then she was very conflicted about her decision. Ambiguity was good. But he wasn't planning to go to her begging or anything. There was someone else he wasted to have fun with. When Kai asked him what was going on, he just told the guy that he'd broken up with Chizuru over the summer break. So, yeah, we broke up. It's fine, we weren't compatible. I guess dash. Kai interrupted him with a sucker punch to his face which Kazuya barely dodged. What the fuck, dude? Kazuya restrained his urge to beat his ass into the ground since he was familiar enough with Kai to know that he only wanted the best for him. Kai didn't answer and tries to hit him again. Fucking hell, dude. What's wrong? Kazuya swats Kai's hand off. What's wrong? Your dumb asses, what's wrong? I noticed back during the trip. You were acting flirty all the time with Mami. Do you think you're some big deal, two-timing on your girlfriend? Well, you're not, you sleaze. If you can't cherish her, then how the hell do you expect to be with her? You done? Kazuya's impassive face doesn't betray his thoughts. No, I'm not, but I am tired. Why the hell did you keep dodging? 'Cause if you hit me, then I'd be obligated to hit back. You might have lost a tooth or something. Yeah, right, Kaib scoffed. What happened? She was the one who broke up with you, didn't she? Fine, you win. I'll tell you. The night we got back from the beach, she called me up and asked me to meet her. I was tired, but I decided to go there anyway because she sounded serious. I went there, she laid it on me and broke up with me. Said she wants to focus on her career or something. I was tired. I decided to respect her choice and left. I wasn't going to grovel at her feet for something like this. They talk for a while before they separate for class. A couple of days later, Mami pulled Kazuya into the dark and deserted auditorium of the college. Sex in the college auditorium? Kinky. Kazuya commented as he saw Mami wearing a pink frilly skirt going down to her knees with a blue half-sleeve top with white stripes that left her shoulders bare. She playfully swatted him. Of course not, silly Kazu-kun. I wanted to talk to you in private. I heard that you and your girlfriend are fighting. I don't want to make it worse by being seen with you in public. I'm guessing that Chizuru kept things under wraps. People only think that we're fighting. Also, Mami, if you don't want to make it worse, then text me. Don't pull me into some deserted area of the college. Especially one that has no surveillance. Yeah. It's been a little rocky after the summer break. Would you like to talk about it, Kazu-kun? She leaned close to him and wrapped her arms around one of his arms, pressing her breasts against it. Forget it, my balls are blue to the point that they might burst. I guess that'll be the first instance of my making her my bitch. Let's discreetly check for any recording devices first though. Kazuya guided her to the back of the auditorium. Not really. It's just one of those bumps, you know. It'll smoothen out eventually. I'm not gonna cry about it like a baby to everyone. Are you sure, Kazu-kun? Talking to people about your problems is a very good thing. You shouldn't bottle up your feelings inside. You probably feel horrible on the inside. That might be true, but I'm pretty sure that you aren't the most trustworthy person with that information. He thinks that as he and Mami sit on two of the seats in the back row. You know, Mami, there are other ways to make me feel better. And we don't need to do much talking for that. He noticed that Mami kept glancing toward his lips repeatedly. Good to know that the master-level kissing is helpful. She's still not over the feeling of that kiss from the pool. Is that so, Kazu-kun? Mami trailed off her words as she brought her face close to his face while tightening her hold on his arm. This is why I like her. She keeps trying to seduce me to feel like she's in control of me. So much fun. He pulls Mami's hand and brings her out of her seat and into his lap. She's straddling his legs as he sits in his seat with less than an inch of a gap from his face. He brings both his hands to her waist and pulls her even closer. Then he leans his face forward and kisses Mami, who feels an incredible jolt from the kiss. As amazing as Mami feels, she has realized that a simple kiss isn't going to cut it with this Kazuya. After the last time, she was sure that he wouldn't start blubbering like an idiot anytime soon if she didn't up her game. These were her surface thoughts, but the thoughts that even she didn't accept were the ones that told her that she wanted him. She wanted him to make her feel like that again. Between her kisses, she says, Kazu-kun's hair has changed. You look so much manlier now. I'm glad you like it. Mami, you've been working out, haven't you? Kazu-kun? She ran her slender hands over his toned arms. You noticed. He kissed her back, and this time they didn't pull away from each other. They deepened the kiss as Kazuya expertly slipped his tongue into the mix. Mami was also grinding while she straddled his lap, stimulating his cock. Slowly it grew to full mast and poked her where she would feel it most. The stimulations were enough for Mami to moan into Kazuya's mouth. She didn't stop grinding on him though, and just enjoyed the feeling of the hot makeout session. At this point, she wasn't making any plans to control him or manipulate him. She was just genuinely enjoying how he played with her body. Seeing as Mami didn't stop grinding on him, Kazuya decided to be bolder and pulled Mami's top out from her skirt's waistband where it was tucked. He slipped his hand in and started gently caressing her bare stomach and waist. She was startled at his actions but didn't say anything and just moaned into his mouth. He ran his fingers over her bare skin in an agonizingly slow fashion. Mami couldn't help but hold him tighter and get more aggressive, which he enjoyed a lot. His fingers finally reached up to her bra and he skirted around it, snaking his hands to her back. The next moment Mami felt like her chest had been freed from her confines. Kazuya. Her words were a little slurred as Kazuya pushed his tongue into her mouth, wantonly exploring it. He brought his hands to the underside of her now free breasts, jiggling them a little. He cupped them and gently molded them. He brushed his fingernail against her nipple, making her feel jolts of electricity in her pussy. He played around with his new favorite toys as he pinched her nipples from under her top. MHH, she moaned again due to the mix of pain and pleasure she felt from his actions. They kept going like this for almost half an hour as both Kazuya and Mami skipped their lecture. Soon enough, Kazuya felt Mami's body stiffen up a little. Knowing what was about to happen, he gave her nipples a strong pinch as he pulled back and bit her ear, saying, "Do it, Mami! Come!" He whispers in her ear with his warm breath while he grinds his shaft right on her covered core. She bit into his shoulder to muffle her cries as she held onto him like there was no tomorrow and shook in her spot. MMH, with her moan, Kazuya felt the lower half of his pants get a little wet. "Oh, I am not letting this girl go. She just squirted from an intense makeout. There's no way I'm going to let her away from my clutches," he decided possessively as Mami pulled away from him and looked into his eyes while still straddling his legs. "Kazuya, don't leave me hanging, Mami. I'm dying here." He pointed to his painfully erect shaft. She gets a hesitant look on her face and bites her lower lip seductively with her red cheeks, making Kazuya want to rip off all pretenses and defile her right here and now, but he holds himself back. "What do you want me to do, Kazuya?" She looks into his eyes with a vulnerable expression. Knowing that it's too early to ask her to blow him, he decides to ask for a simple hand job. From what he knows about her, she's a pretty sheltered girl whose first kiss itself was with him. This made him notice a bit of a disturbing pattern that was shown by both Mami and Chizuru. Both of them are virgins with basically zero sexual experience. It's the basic plot of almost any romance anime though. The female leads are somehow always completely pure and untainted. He didn't mind since it fulfilled his darker desires to completely own the girl, but it was weird nonetheless. He holds her hand with one hand and guides it to his pants, specifically to his erection. She can feel its heat even through the pants. "Open it!" Kazuya guides her as Mami follows and opens his pant, revealing his underwear-covered erection. It's difficult for her to get a good angle, so she decides to slide down and kneels between his legs. Her reason was already out the window and her body only followed her instincts along with Kazuya's instructions. "Holy fuck, girl, I might just end up using your mouth if you act like this." Kneeling between his legs, she brings her hands back to his shaft and lowers his underwear, completely freeing his shaft. She is surprised and sucks in a breath as his cock bounces while standing completely erect. This is supposed to go inside. Mami's thoughts are centered around his almost 9-inch cock as she's a little apprehensive about it. Are all guys this big or is it just him? A/N, this is canon. Looking at Mami's dazed face while looking at his cock, he is a little proud as this was the only thing that the original had going for him. "Bring your hands around the shaft, don't squeeze it, just gently pump it." Kazuya instructs her again. God, inexperienced virgins are the best. You get to teach them everything and it's the norm for them because they don't have much to compare to other than porn. She brings both her hands around his shaft and starts lightly pumping it, making Kazuya feel amazing. He used his hand and guided her to give him a better hand job. Kazuya looked at Mami kneeling between his legs, her face inches away from his cock as she is completely focused on his cock. That expression along with her position almost pushes him off the edge. "Mami, I'm close. Try not to get your clothes stained." Mami doesn't slow down but increases her speed as she does something that Kazuya couldn't have expected in any situation. She enveloped the tip of his shaft while still pumping it as the warm feeling of her mouth on the top makes him erupt into her mouth. He brings his hand to her head instinctively as he lets it rest there while he fills her mouth. When he's finally done, he notices that Mami has drunk all of his semen. He caresses her hair and says with a deep breath, "Good girl, Mami. You're the best." He realized that she didn't bring her face up and was trembling a little after his words. "Mami?" He holds her by the shoulders and pulls her up to look at her face, but she doesn't let him look at her and hugs him tightly, pressing her face to his chest. He feels a warm wetness on his chest and realizes that Mami is crying. Was I too rough? I doubt it. Why would you cry though? He rubs her back gently and says in as soothing of a voice as he could, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry for making you drink it like that. Please don't cry. I promise, Dash. It's not that. She interrupts him with a muffled voice and shakes her head in his chest. It's not that. She repeats. What was it then, Mami? Tell me. It pains me to see you cry like that. He cringed inwardly at his own words. It's nothing. Just let me stay like this for a while. She rubs her head on his chest. He realizes that Mami won't be telling him anytime soon, so he just listens to her and holds her weak-looking frame in his arms. He puts the thought of her crying at the back of his mind since there was no point. I can have so much fun with her. This was one of the lighter times, but I have to go slow. Even if I want to make her my bitch, she shouldn't feel like that's what I'm doing. The process should go as naturally as possible for her. When they were done, they both separated from each other and fixed their clothes. Mami made a very good decision by drinking his cum because it would have been a big problem if any of it got on her clothes. It was a little salty, but I liked it, Kazuya. Let's do it again. She left him with this line, and he couldn't tell how this girl could be so seductive yet so pure at the same time. It might actually be me who's in her clutches. He joked inwardly. He walks away with this thought, and a smile, since he finally got the relief that he was craving for so long. It was still far from enough, but it was a start. After the first time, it'll get more and more frequent. At least that's what Kazuya thought, but Mami didn't even come to college after that. They'd started texting every once in a while, so she told him that she caught a cold after that, so she'd be coming back to college the next Monday. Kazuya was happy that at least it wasn't another progress reset like what usually happened with Chizuru. He'd have to start from zero with her always. He knew that he could corrupt Mami and convince her to do all sorts of perverted things with him since she didn't have much experience yet. He wasn't going to call her to his new apartment so soon since he didn't want to overwhelm her, but that was going to happen sooner or later. Soon the weekend arrived and he got a call from his grandma that his family of 4 had planned a weekend retreat at a hot spring resort. He agreed since he didn't have much to do over the weekend. He'd already finished 30 out of the required 50 of his freelance projects, and had planned to take a break over the weekend since he's been working so much over the summer break. Chapter 23, Hot Springs, January 4th. A health retreat. This deep into the mountains. Are you sure it's not some sort of cult thing? Kazuya asked with a bored expression. Nonsense. I booked this trip to a hot springs inn. They say that their hot springs are very effective against visceral diseases. Nagomi Kinoshita, Kazuya's grandma, who's recently been discharged from the hospital, said. Kazuya's dad is driving while his mom is in the front passenger seat reading the pamphlet for the place. Kazuya was sitting in the back with his grandmother. I shouldn't complain if it's for her health. Although Kazuya feels detached from his family, he still does care about them. Oh, they serve pheasant for dinner. It's the local specialty, Kazuya's mom says from the front seat. Pheasant! That brings me back. Once there was. Kazuya zoned out and looked out the window, enjoying the scenery. This is it. Gunma Prefecture's private hot spring resort, Nashijikan. I only got this booking because of an old regular customer that we have. You seem excited. Kazuya comments at his grandma's enthusiasm. Of course I am. Staying in that hospital was so boring. Here we get a free welcoming drink. And 30 complimentary tubs of ice cream. She tries to sell the place to Kazuya. Do they have an affiliated hospital nearby? Because we're going there after that much ice cream. They probably do this to increase the hospital's business. Kazuya's dad comes up to him and puts his arm around his shoulder. Come on, kid, no need to be so cynical. Let's just enjoy the trip. There are real hot springs here. You don't get to experience that in the city with those heated pools. Yes, sure, Dad. They all take a seat in the lobby waiting for their rooms to be cleaned out. Are they not here yet? Kazuya's grandma looks down at her phone. They? Kazuya asks only to be ignored as his grandma calls someone out. Ah. There you are, Sayataso. Kazuya's grandma waves her hand to someone who seems to be someone of similar age to her. Sayataso? Is that a nickname that grandma gave her friend? He turns in the direction his grandma was looking and sees someone familiar. Isn't that Sayuri-san? Doesn't that mean? Fuck. This is a setup. Kazuya realizes the situation and isn't sure about what to feel. On one hand, he's happy that he's gonna be having some fun with Chizuru, and on another, he's annoyed that his grandma is the one who dragged him into this. Forget it, let's just see how things go. I doubt much will change between me and Chizuru after this trip. How are you, Ichino-san? He greets Chizuru's grandma in a gentlemanly way when he sees her approaching. I'm fine, dear, how are you? How is college going? Everything's going fine, Ichino-san. How are you here? Kazuya's grandma answers this time. Sayuri was discharged from the hospital a few days after me, so I thought that it was an occasion worth celebrating. That's why I invited her to join us. I see. Welcome, Ichino-san. I hope you enjoyed the trip with us. You can let me know if grandma gets too clingy. I'll take her off your hands. Hey, brat, who are you calling clingy? Such a polite boy. I like him already. He's perfect. Perfect for what? Kazuya thinks rhetorically to himself without asking the question, since he's curious about their plan. Well, at least her grandma seems to like me. I'll call that a win in my book. Kazuya-chan, what college are you going to? Sayuri starts some small talk with Kazuya while everyone is waiting for the room. I'm going to Naruma University, Ichino-san. You probably knew that though. With how much my grandma talks about me, I'm sure she's already told you the color of my diapers from when I was a toddler. Please, dear, call me grandma. And Naruma University. It's the same university that my granddaughter goes to. If you ever run into her, please take care of her. Of course, grandma, it'd be delighted. That's actually true, I'd be delighted to help Chizuru, for a price that is. He has evil thoughts in his mind. What's your major? Business administration, grandma. Oh, you must be planning to take over your family's business later. Well, Kazuya was thinking about what to say, but the caretaker interrupted their conversation. The Hazewell room is ready. One of the caretakers of the inn came and let everyone know. Oh great, Sayataso, let's go to our room. Kazuya also picked up his laptop bag since he hadn't sent it with the luggage and followed them. What are you doing? His grandma stops him. Following you guys to the room. I'd prefer if I didn't have to sleep in the lobby. You've gotten sarcastic at Kazuya? Anyway, here are the keys to your room. You're in a separate room. Great, you should have given them to me sooner. I was already weirded out that we were all staying in the same room. Kazuya is pretty happy that he doesn't have to stay with his family. Good. The premium rooms only house 4 people, so we booked you a separate room. Wait for. So Ichino-san is going to stay with you guys? Yeah. That's why you got the other room. I see. I'll be off then, have fun. Just as Kazuya turned around to walk away, both of the grandmas had scheming looks on their faces. Let's see how they react. This'll be fun. What did you two do? Kazuya's father asked the 2 grandmas, who looked like they were planning a murder. If it's what I think it is, then this trip is either going to be hella awkward or hella sexy. I prefer the second thing, but let's see how things go. The room seemed pretty nice. He reached his room and used the key that he had to open it. Click. As the door opened, he noticed someone lying down on the comfortable-looking carpet with an expression of ecstasy. The moment the door opened, that expression morphed into surprise, followed by panic, as the beautiful girl sat up and fixed her messed yukata that seemed to show the most tantalizing of views. She covered herself completely and looked at the new arrival in the room, who was staring at her in a stupor. She's gorgeous. He got out of his stupor as he noticed the girl turning to look at him. Hi, Chizuru. Why are you here? She looks at him warily. Let's fuck with her. What do you think? He adopts a menacing expression and enters the room. He locks the door behind him as he walks further. Don't. Stay away from me. Chizuru's expression morphs into a terror-filled one as she starts backing away with panic. Her expression seems to have genuine terror etched on it, as if she'd been through something like this before. Her expression alarmed Kazuya as he quickly raised his hands and backed away. Did I awaken some sort of trauma? He is concerned about her. All right. See. I'm backing away. You don't need to be scared of me, I won't. He trails off as he notices the slight smirk on Chizuru's face. So, how was my acting? She asks him with a smile. What the hell happened to that weird stuck-up chick that I usually talk to? Oh, you are gonna pay for that. He walks over to her. Please don't. Now it's a helpless damsel expression. You're playing with fire, girl. He gets close to her and traps her between himself and the wall. Where are you gonna go now? He looks down at her. Please, sir. Let me go. I'll do better next time. What the hell am I doing? She inwardly screams at herself. No. I think you need some punishment to drive the lesson in. He runs his hand through the side of her smooth hair. I miss this. This feels good. Both of them have similar thoughts. Please, sir, I'm begging you. Forgive me. Don't fail me on the test. She joins her hands with a pleading expression on her face. He pauses as if in contemplation. Fine. But I think a naughty student like you needs to get her behavior corrected. I think a spanking should do the trick. Please, sir. She looks as if she's about to cry. Choose. I can't lose my scholarship, sir. I choose the second option. Good girl. He caresses the side of her face. Say it. What do you want me to do? She doesn't say anything, as if too embarrassed by the request. If you don't say it, then. He trails off, leaving his words to open interpretation. Her face gets a determined expression on her face. Please spank this disobedient student, sir. Her voice gets sultry by the end. Let's see how far I can push her role play. That's my favorite girl. Come with me. He holds her hand and leads her to an area with 2 chairs and takes a seat. Kia. He pulls her hand so that she's lying across his lap on her stomach. He puts a hand on the back of her waist so that she's stable in his lap. You should start counting. He pulls his hand back and was going to bring it down her butt. Creator's thoughts. Chapter 24, Hot Springs, February 4th. You should start counting. He pulls his hand back and was going to bring it down her butt. Suddenly, she breaks out of the roleplay and pulls herself off of his lap. She's about to fall on the ground since she's not stable, so he holds her to help her balance and lets her go. What the hell do you think you're doing? Roleplay. I thought you wanted to practice your acting. His face is completely innocent, as if he wasn't just about to take advantage of her. I want to be a movie actress, not a porn star. A lot of movie actresses start their career that way. She looks around and picks up a pillow from the side. Then she throws it at him. Hey, why is it always violence with you? He catches the pillow. I'm leaving. She starts to walk away. Fix your yukata, way too much skin is visible right now. He gets up and says to her, making her stop in her tracks. And whose fault is that, huh? She looks at him accusatorily while fixing her clothes. She doesn't even realize that she didn't have any issue with him seeing her in that state. Why are you in my room anyway? And you even had the key. You see about that. This is my room. What? But... No. She dramatically trails off. I'm afraid so. Kazuya nodded solemnly. What the hell? Do they have some sort of misconception that we're together or something? She doesn't wait for his answer and storms out of the room. I hope that they got another room beforehand, because I'm pretty sure that the inn was booked out already. He leisurely follows after her. He sees her standing in the lift, stopping it as she beckoned him. Why are you so chill? Walk quicker. What's the point? It's not like our grandmas are going anywhere. Either they're just fucking with us and booked another room or not. That won't change in a few minutes. You're awfully cool about all this. Why wouldn't I be? Either I get to stay with my 2-day fling or I stay with my family. He finally enters the elevator with her. Hey, we agreed not to talk about it. She suddenly looks down and gets a guilty expression on her face. I don't remember having that conversation. Well, I'm telling you now. I don't want to talk about it. She hides her feelings behind an aggressive mask. I think I know why your teacher wanted to punish a disobedient student like you. Not another word. Do you understand? She gives him a death glare. It's so much fun to rile you up. Well, it's not fun for me. She looks away, pouting. It's cute that you think that. What's that supposed to mean? We're here. Kazuya changes the topic and mentions that the lift is on the correct floor. Chizuru looks ahead and the doors don't open. She turns back to glare at him and is about to scold him, but by then there was a ting sound and the lift's doors opened. Kazuya had delayed her enough that the lift reached the correct floor. Let's go. Hee hee. Sorry about the surprise, honey. Her grandma told Chizuru with a light laugh. Come on, you guys can go enjoy yourselves. You're both young and energetic. I'm sure neither of you wants to stay with your families. But Grandma, wasn't this supposed to be our weekend getaway? I thought I'd have fun with you. I agree with her. Ichino-san can switch rooms with me and everything goes back to normal without any awkward stuff. He supports Chizuru since he was fine with either of the options. Come on, Kazuya. You should understand that your parents will be busy with each other, which leaves me to hang out with you. As much as I love you, I'd rather spend my time with my friend. And you guys didn't think to get 2 single-person rooms for the 2 of us? Chizuru asks. You should understand, Chizuru-chan, this kind of hotel is usually completely booked. We only barely got the rooms because of connections. There weren't any rooms available. Seeing Chizuru's desperate expression, Sayuri's heart aches for her granddaughter, so she tries one last attempt to convince her. Fine, Chizuru. You don't have to worry. I'll switch rooms with little Kazuya. Although we've already ordered personalized dinners and everything, it'll be a hassle to change it with the hotel. It's alright. I'll spend time with you instead of enjoying the vacation with someone. Looking at her grandma's cheap attempt to convince her, Chizuru is annoyed but goes soft looking at her grandma's pleading expression. I hate that I'm about to accept their arrangement. It's fine, Grandma. I and Kazuya are kind of friends with each other, so I don't mind staying in the same room as him. You can enjoy your vacation with Grandma Ichino's. Sayuri envelopes Chizuru in a hug. Oh, thank you, Chizuru. I love you. And you don't have to hold back. I know that you are young. You should have some fun in your youth. Grandma. She whines like a little girl in her grandmother's protective embrace. So, what now? Kazuya is with Chizuru in their room, admiring her yukata-covered body accentuating her curves in all the right places. Chizuru is leaning with her elbows on the table while sitting on the mat. Whatever. I'll just have fun. It'll be fine. All you have to worry about is me having a wet dream. I don't know what I'd do to you in my sleep if that happened. Your words aren't reassuring me. Forget it. I'll go take a bath. As Chizuru leaves the room to go take a shower, Kazuya walks to the window of the room that had a beautiful view of the valley behind the resort. It's a beautiful evening. I guess I should go and enjoy the hot springs at least once. I've never tried one before. Let's see if it's as fun as the various media portray it to be. He leaves the room after locking the door and goes to the men's bath area. Now what's the fun of the hot springs if we aren't even going to have mixed baths with girls? Kazuya, immeasurably disappointed, walks into the place wearing a towel. It's a peaceful place. Even though the place is completely booked, there's what? 4, 5, 6 people here, and Dad? Kazuya notices his dad sitting alone, seeming like he was brooding over something. I know he seems brooding, but that's just his natural face when he's completely idle. After taking a shower, Kazuya walks up to his dad. Hey Dad, you alive? There was no reply. Yo, old man, wake up. Stop relaxing. Kazuya wasn't relaxed right now, and he damn well wasn't gonna let anyone else relax either. His dad opens his eyes with a scowl on his face. What is it, brat? Let me rest. I don't know, I saw you relaxing and had this urge to bother you. Kazuya took a seat on a comfortable rock with good back support, and made an expression that made his father want to punch him in the face. You little dash. So, what's up with Grandma? She seems strangely adamant about setting me up with her friend's granddaughter. Ugh. Don't ask. They didn't even let me in on their little plan to have you and Chizuru-chan stay together. I usually take care of her willfulness, but sometimes even I slip. It's not that I mind staying with someone so beautiful, but still. It's creepy to force 2 people who are practically strangers to stay in one room. Kazuya. His father's tone is pretty serious. What's up? You've changed a lot. Kazuya's heart skips a beat, but his relaxed expression doesn't change. Yeah, I have. You got your heart broken, didn't you? Something like that. Technically, heartbreak is what led to the new presence in Kazuya's body. I'm not gonna ask you about the details since you don't seem to want to talk about that stuff. I just want to ask you if you are forcing yourself. I'm not Dad. Kazuya gives his dad a genuine smile since he can tell that the guy genuinely cares about his change. Are you sure? People don't drastically change so much so quickly. Your entire attitude has become different. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's much better than being a bumbling idiot like you were, but if you're still that bumbling idiot that's just forcing himself to make himself seem different, don't. We'll still love you no matter what. What brought this on, Dad? I just don't want you to tire yourself out pretending to be someone else entirely. If that's what's happening, you should stop because those actions will eat away at you till one day you completely explode and aren't able to recover. You don't need to worry about that, Dad. I'm perfectly fine. Good. Just wanted to confirm that with you. Now buzz off. Let me enjoy my time in the spring. Go hit on some girls or something. Or better yet, spend time with Chizuru-chan. Your grandma will be thrilled if you end up dating her. Right. Kazuya trailed off and shut up, hoping he wouldn't have to talk about this stuff anymore. Chapter 25, Hot Springs, March 4th. Chizuru walks into the women's bath and notices the place is empty except for an old woman in the corner shouting about her gacha being stingy as fuck. She doesn't pay much attention and decides to walk to the showers with a towel wrapped around her. Madam Chizuru. She hears the voice of that old lady call her out and gets more than a little creeped out. As she turns to look in the direction she was called from, she realizes who the old lady is. Eh? Grandma Kinoshita. She gets startled at the presence of Kazuya's grandma. Nagomi Kinoshita looks around like a shady person that's about to do a crime and looks at Chizuru with a passionate look that gives the poor girl chills. Looks like we're alone. Hearing her, Chizuru almost runs out of the bathroom in terror. Come here, sit and allow me to wash your back. You don't need to worry yourself, I can clean up myself. She tries to back away. Nonsense. I want to wash the beautiful back of my good friend's granddaughter. Chizuru isn't able to escape and resignedly takes a seat with Grandma Nagomi. You know, Chizuru-chan, this might be a selfish thing for me to ask, but I hope that you can give my Kazuya a chance. She scrubs Chizuru's back. Dash. No need to give me an answer, honey. Just consider these the ramblings of an old woman. Such an ample bosom, such luscious hips. The Kinoshita family would be lucky to have you become a part of them. Aya. She moves on to Chizuru's breasts, as the girl moans so cutely that anyone would be utterly smitten with her. I'll make sure to wash you clean. She brings the scrubbing towel between Chizuru's legs. Eek. Really? Your presence would be like a ray of sunshine on the Kinoshita family. Kazuya hardly has much going for him. Honestly, I apologize for his incompetence. Why are you saying these things, Grandma? I have nothing going on with Kazuya-kun. We're just friends. I know, Chizuru, you don't have to do anything with Kazuya. I'll still consider you as part of our family. I know better than anyone of Sayasato's situation, she doesn't want you to be left alone after. She trails off. And you're such an amazing and gentle girl. If you ever feel like you need something, or if you just need to talk to someone, you can rely on me, okay? Nagomi puts her hand on Chizuru's head and ruffles her hair a bit. Chizuru doesn't say anything and stays quiet. Nagomi continues. This trip is also something of a bittersweet one for me. Today is the anniversary of my late husband's death. I'm so dash. It's perfectly fine, dear. It's been many years. It's been many years since the incident. And also, although this day is a mournful one, I for one am very happy. Chizuru is silent as Nagomi continues. I got to meet with such an amazing girl. I even got to bathe you. I left the hospital with such an amazing friend. Thank you, Chizuru-chan, for making this trip feel wonderful for me. And you don't have to worry about Kazuya. Even if you abhor him to the end, I will not mind at all. Gee, Grandma. What is it, honey? Nagomi is very happy that Chizuru addressed her without her name as usual. What if I was lying to you? What if I'm not the person that you think I am? Chizuru's posture is completely slouched in her seat as she looks down anxiously. Lying? That's simply part of being human, Chizuru-chan. And you don't have to worry about me. I'd still love you even if you were an alien. Nagomi's tone is cheerful as she answers Chizuru without hesitation. Back in his room, he and Chizuru are playing poker to decide who's going to sleep on the side of the window, and who's sleeping on the side of the door. There wasn't any reason that they were doing this. They were just bored waiting for their food, so they started playing the game. Yes! I won! Chizuru pumped both her fists into the air, yet Kazuya's attention wasn't on his loss in the game. His attention was completely on her jiggling tits that were hidden within the confines of her yukata. She notices and quickly fixes her clothes. Why are you such a pervert? What kind of question is that? I know how to appreciate a lovely girl, that's all. You and your cheesy lines. Admit it. You like them. Where's the food? Is it not here yet? Chizuru comments on his claim and changes the topic. Another game? What are the stakes? She's all for another game. Strip poker? Kazuya looks at her with a cautious look as if he's sure she'll throw something at him. I'm not drunk. Some real stakes, will you? Those are very real stakes. She stares at him as if she'll murder him once he falls asleep. Money? I'm in. How much are you betting? I'm short of cash and I'll be taking yours. How are you of all people short of cash? Don't you charge an exorbitant price for your rental stuff? She looks away in embarrassment. I have my expenses. Right. How about favors? Denied. Even if I trust you, I don't do blank favors. It's a matter of principle. Ring. By now they had taken so long deciding what to bet that the food was delivered to their room. It's here. Let's dig in. Itadakimasu. Both of them dug into the food. With her first bite, Chizuru almost moans at the amazing taste, and Kazuya had the first-person experience of seeing that innocent bliss on her face. He freezes in his place with the bite halfway to his mouth, as his mouth forms an arc looking at her happy expression. Stop looking at me like that and eat your damn food. You look like a creep. As usual, he can count on Chizuru to destroy any romantic atmosphere that might end up being created even if by mistake. She takes another bite of her food while thinking, you should be glad. If it was anyone else, I'd have punched them for looking at me like that. Right. He also takes a bite of his food. This is good. Let's bring out the drinks. Kazuya says and opens 2 porcelain bottles of the authentic sake that came complimentary with the meal. He pours them into the cups and notices Chizuru trying to sneak a bite of his food. He stops her with a light swat on her hand with his chopsticks. No stealing my food. But it looks so good. Then you should have ordered your own. He hands her the cup of sake. Cheers? He extends his hand with the cup. Cheers! She gulps it down like it was cheap water. Just as Kazuya was thinking that she had an alcoholism problem since the sake was extremely concentrated, she started coughing. Yeah, that's the reaction one should have after drinking this strong of a drink, as if it was a cheap shot. Kazuya quickly got up and put his hand on her back, rubbing it. Here. Drink some water. He brings a glass of water close to her mouth, as she takes tiny little sips to ease the burning in her throat. Easy girl. He rubs her head a little. What am I, a dog? She looks at him with red eyes from the coughing and the burning in her throat. What? He looks at her with an innocent face. She narrows her eyes at him in a cat-like fashion. I want to put cat ears on her head. He thinks absent-mindedly and takes his seat again. What happened? I know for a fact that you don't drink something like that so abruptly. He asks her. It's fine. I just didn't know that it would be so strong. I've never drunk such strong sake before. We were drinking whiskey just the other night. That whiskey was diluted. This sake on the other hand was neat. There's a difference. Right. Let's just get back to our food. Kazuya brings his attention back to his food. He notices a very unstealthy Chizuru trying to take his food again. Hey, what did I say? No. Stealing. Food. She enunciates each word. I can ask for it though, right? Will you please feed me, Kazuya-kun? Her words almost shatter his entire worldview as he looks at her in disbelief. Of course, she's drunk. What the hell's wrong with Chizuru this weekend? It's like she's got a whole different vibe. First, she went far too along with my weird roleplay idea, and now this. I'm sure that the normal her would never put herself in such a vulnerable situation. With a guy especially. In the end, he can't resist her beautiful expression of begging and agrees. Fine. But you have to do the same for me. Deal. She vigorously nods her head. They have a weirdly flirty dinner with Chizuru getting more drunk after she asked Kazuya to order a bucket of beer. Which were 4 bottles, of which she finished 3. At which point Kazuya put a stop to it.
Akira here, this is the end of part 1. If you enjoyed the story, we would appreciate it if you liked the video. Also, please support the original author for this amazing work. I have put their Patreon and the web novel link in the description. Thank you and have a great day.